Block family, welcome back to the block. I'm your host DJ, aka Fresh Prince of the Block, and as always, with me to my right, we got the brown belt slanging, Achilles and knees taking,
chill.
the one and only.
I brought all of those things here. I'm trying to take them back home.
Yes, we got always my host, my co-host.
It's all about being humble. Monix.
This guy. Don't be so humble, man.
No.
All about being humble, but trust me, he dangerous. But for this episode, man, greatly appreciate y'all tapping back in with us. But we have a very special guest.
Yes.
For me, one of my personal favorites that I've been following for a minute, especially and my brother as well. Especially like we keep saying, man, we one of the most plastic Polynesians you're gonna find, but we gotta find those that will help us get back to our roots. And my brother Pololu, Nakanelua, the Poi Poundah, thank you so much for coming on, brother.
What's up, everybody? Mahalo for having me.
Yeah, of course, man, of course. Let's dive right into it. For those that don't know, if you don't follow my man, please tap in with him on social media, IG. Man, I'm telling you, you won't regret it. Especially if you want to learn more about the Hawaiian culture, my man lives it to the fullest. So let's start from the very beginning, my brother, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Where does the name the Poi Poundah come from? Why is this so prevalent for you? Where did this all start from?
Well, so that's a fight nickname, but I had a bunch of different names going up through my career. You know, kind of like Kamehameha. He's got like 17 different names. You go through your life, and then you get all of these different achievements and life achievements and things that you do, and they'll call you on that. It's very classic Hawaiian. They don't name you when you're born. They'll name you after when you do stuff with your life. You know what I mean?
Man, that makes sense.
You know, you cannot name me Ikaika, that's strong, and then I wake up like a twig. You know what I mean? Like every accomplishment is fair. So, the first name somebody called me was like the indigenous, and that was just like being brown in Hawaii and all that. And I liked it, but I kind of moved away from that because being indigenous kind of like goes for every person on the planet, and I didn't want to take or discredit like those types of people that I'm the face of all the I'm not about that.
Right.
Somebody called me the Taro Patch Kid once.
The Taro Patch Kid. Whoa, that's fire.
Yeah, one of my coaches back in one of my old boxing gyms, he named me after that. This guy Jeff McKee. Okay. He runs White Group Boxing. He also called me Blackie Chan, but that wasn't like that was a weird one. Now I'm like King Lou to him. I'm like the big monkey.
Hey,
I liked it because I'm like, you think I'm big? You know? Like that's awesome. So I grew up on a taro farm. Taro, as you guys know, is taro. You know, and that's our main, I guess, staple starch in Polynesia. That's what we grew up eating, and it's an eponymous ancestor that we feed spiritually, physically, and all of the illies that we can think of. You know, we all trace back to him. So I grew up on a farm that way through some family land that I have on East Maui in Wailua Nui. It's called Lakini. Very special place to my family. And, you know, when most of my friends were walking around in circles at the mall or going surfing, going parties, I was cutting grass. I was pulling taro. I was pulling weeds, doing all kind of pulling, you know.
Yes, sir.
And
farm life.
Yeah. So I was known as a Taro Patch Kid for a little bit. And my dad actually got super mad at me for that.
Really?
Yeah, because I took that when I was like maybe 21, 22. I took that name on. And it's like, man, you're not one bloody kid anymore. You got to grow up. People are not going to take you serious. You're calling yourself one kid all the time. So I said, okay, well, I don't know what I'm doing. So this girl, Shan Vischer, that I used to train with back in the day, she's Brandon Vischer's brother. He's the Viper 45er.
Oh,
like one of the main ones to come out of Maui and fight in WEC. When I was training under him and I was real close with her, we were she said you should change it to the Poi Poundah, and I was like, huh? I never thought of that because my dad uses a poi grinder, on cornmeal grinder. I was like, bro, I haven't done poi pounding since I was like 12. You know what I mean? Like, so I gotta, which actually helped because it kind of motivated me and diverted me to be about it more. Right. I can't be calling myself the Poi Poundah if I haven't touched it in 10 years and it's a doorstop. You know what I mean? Right, for sure. Like, it's sitting there and we don't like, we honor it or whatever. It's my grandfather's, but
I see.
It was like, it's a lot easier. You use a cornmeal grinder, especially when you're making 30 gallons of poi. You know what I mean? Like pounding all day, doing all that for the whole family for however months, because that's what we eat. You know what I mean? All year round, there's always a bowl of poi on the table.
But on your social media, man, you look like you've been doing your whole life, bro. For real.
No, I really was. You know, as far as the farm life and all, anything poi goes was always in the house. But pounding was like, I would give myself maybe maybe upper blue belt, lower purple belt level, Poi Poundah.
Hey, that's
But,
cool.
so now we're about it, and that's how I got the name. Long story short.
For sure.
That's the coolest name out there right now. Bro.
1000%, bro.
Thanks,
1000.
Yeah.
And also it's I think it's jujitsu. Where can they find your clothing line at?
Oh yeah, it's one of my sponsors, Jiu Jitsu Initiative.
That's the one.
And you got the link in my bio and all of that.
Man, check it out, man. Cause this tee, the
Yeah.
Poi Poundah one,
Yeah.
fire, bro.
I really we got a new job coming soon.
Hell
Just changing
yeah.
up the colors and stuff like that, trying to really keep it rootsy. I'm gravitated to Polynesian artists, Polynesian
Yes, sir.
companies,
Yes, sir.
support locals, support that. I guess like that mana to keep us pushing forward, that we still have a place on the planet.
Of
So
course.
when I wear rash guards, when I wear shorts and stuff, and it has our symbols and our motifs, our
Yes.
designs, that's like a big deal to me.
Yeah,
You know?
and it stands out, bro. Like, especially as a Polynesian, you see a tattoo, you gotta check the face. Like, are you really poly?
Yeah, let
You
me
know what I
see- let
mean?
me see the nose.
Now, when I used to work at Top Golf, this happened one time.
Oh
was
yeah, I saw
working
you at Top
I was
Golf.
working security over there. This big dude comes walking down, Maori sleeve, look Maori based design, and I was just like, "Hey, what's up, Oos?" You know, and he looked at me, and he's like, "Oos." I'm like, "Yeah, Oos." That's when I just first was allowed to use it. I got my Oos pass.
Yeah.
Oos this, Oos that, Oos this. You know? I was just
Yeah,
using
yeah.
it, and I was like, "What's up, Oos?" Like begging loud, and he's like, "Huh?" And I was like, "Oos," and he's like, "Dude, I'm from Detroit. What are you?"
Ah.
And I was just like,
Oh.
well, he was just a big ass Mexican.
Oh,
I was like, man, you look like me, but you're just big.
Well, I wanted to dive into it later, but I mean, you already brought it up. What are your thoughts on like non-Polynesians getting our traditional tattoos? Back in the day, I used to take it so to heart, but
Me too.
what can I complain about? I don't even live the life, so what are my real complaints about?
So the nature of these things,
Yeah.
two things I gotta set you up with before I start vomiting the information, right? So I get it from my dad. When you ask him how hot the fire is, I gotta tell you when the match was invented, right?
Right.
So
right,
this is
right,
an
right.
easy, deep conversation. One of two things are gonna happen. People are gonna be really motivated, or I'm gonna hurt some feelings.
Yeah, for real.
So, all around Polynesia, I did a lot of research on this just because I did it throughout college. I did a research paper on tattoos and Polynesian
Hell yeah.
specific origins of tattooing.
Right.
And so the word tattoo isn't a real word. You can look it up on your phone right now. You go on Webster's dictionary or whatever. Look
Yeah.
up tattoo. There's no definition on it describing ink under skin.
Right.
That's not a
right,
word.
for
So,
sure.
I'm calling Palangi for you guys.
Yeah.
When Palangi came to us,
Yeah.
they saw all of our stuff and they were attracted to it. All of our stuff is appealing. Our clothes, the stuff that we say, our
For sure.
dances, you know, at first glance. And then they get scared. But
Of course.
back to the point. So they couldn't say the word tattoo.
Yeah.
So they just made up their own word and it's tattoo. If you look it up, you won't be able to find it. That's
Yes,
where
sir.
it comes from.
Yes, sir.
So all over, we under Keone Nunez, from what I learned, you know, the revitalizer of Hawaiian traditional kakao uhi, this is where I got maybe 80% of my information from. The rest
I
comes
see.
from like old books, newspaper articles, stuff like that.
Hell yeah.
And I think we traced it from Samoa, Fiji, and Tahiti were the first, I guess, origins in Hawaii specifically.
Oh, I see.
There were two Fijian twin sisters that brought the tools
Mhm.
over.
That's what I was told.
And that's how we worked with that. The break down the word kakao is like, now if you look it up under Mary Kavena Pukui's dictionary definition, it's translated as to write,
Oh, I see.
because ka to strike, kau to place. So when we kakao, it's like you're writing on the skin.
Yeah.
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 And then uhi is the black veil. So if you look at somebody with tattoos far, far away, it's just a dark cloud. So it can either be like the portal to the next place,
Right.
a smudge of blackness, a veil. It's that nature,
For
you know.
sure.
So kakao uhi, you're writing the uhi when
Hell
you do
yeah.
that. So I grew up learning about all of these traditions and rites and rituals, and that's how I know tato or tattoos to be.
Of course.
And everybody has their specific ones, right? So you guys have your malufie,
Yes, sir.
your pe'a,
Look, he
you
knows,
know,
hell yeah.
Aotearoa has their tamoko,
Yes,
their
sir.
moko kawai,
Yup.
you know, and Hawaiians, we have our alaniho
Yeah.
and our maka and
sir.
our pauku and all of these different designs and placements. And I always thought that every Hawaiian person should have one,
Yeah.
you know. Then you get to the 90s where, you know, being Hawaiian was kind of okay at this point, maybe 20 years after the first big boom with the hokulea,
Yeah.
the launching of the double hull canoe all around the world.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
being Hawaiian is cool now.
Yeah.
Being Samoan is cool now.
Yes,
being
sir.
Tongan is cool now.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't necessarily like a taboo subject. It was just like the spark of the upbringing of like that Hawaiian Renaissance.
For sure.
And in the 90s, it's not like it was everything Hawaiian or Polynesian was illegal for like a couple hundred years. Nobody really knew anything. The only ones that knew stuff is the hula dancers because they're not labeled as threats. So they allowed that to go. They monopolized it. You can make money off of it. So we keep that alive. That's fine. We don't touch that.
Yeah.
But with stuff like Lua fighting, Pu'alikoa, the war formations in the Hawaiian military, the infantry, that was all gone. The Hawaiian religion system, the kapu system, that's all gone.
Wow.
And kakauhi is gone.
Oh, wow.
So all of these things that are put to rest, or I guess laid dormant for a little bit, they popped up and got revitalized in like the 70s into the 90s. And so when you don't know about it because the majority of the population deleted it from their brains,
of course,
never mind this old stuff, we just let that go already. America is the way. And it was for a long time, you know. And for those people at that time, they did the best with what they had. Not discrediting them at all. They're survivors. They're the reason why we're here, and we have to give them that respect.
Of course.
So back to the tattoos. At that time, they created this thing that it's kind of labeled now as they call it tribal.
Right.
But that can mean anything on the whole world. There's tribes everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So
of course.
there's another term. It's called Pan-Pacific.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
So when you see somebody with one sleeve or with one, you know, just kind of like a mesh of different geometric designs, you'll see natures of the framework might be fundamentally Samoan. Even the framework of like the ferns, you'll see the Maori fern designs, all the swirls and all their metas and korus and stuff like that. You'll see elements of different parts of Polynesia together. And so you asked, the original question was, how are my feelings with non-Hawaiians getting that?
Yes.
So for me, Pan-Pacific designs don't hold the same weight and sanctity that Uhi does.
Ooh.
Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If you, they're beautiful work. There's a reason why they cost $5,000 an arm.
Yeah, I know, for real, man.
I
Hey,
mean,
for real, bring down your prices though a little bit.
Yeah, just like, I don't talk about it, but maybe that's the reason why I don't get poly work. It's
True.
because
True.
I can't afford it. You know?
True.
But they're very nice to look at. It's a story in itself to show that how our people survived, and this was the way that they did that. That's good work for that.
Right.
But when you tell me that this means strength and this means family, and you're bringing it together to swirl around the ulu tree that your grandfather was buried under, that's not what that means. That's a taro leaf. You know what I mean? Like, I can see these things and I see the symbols, and I was taught by old masters and kahuna about these specific things. Hawaiian uhi to me is like math. It's not like English, right? 1 + 1 always gonna be 2.
Right.
This design always gonna be on spearhead.
Of course.
This design always gonna be on spearhead. This design gonna always be pole. That's not the block that builds the foundation for your family to flourish and all that happy horse stuff. Right. It's a nice thought, but that's what tattoos are for. Tattoo is art. Kakao uhi and tatau all over Pan-Pacific of Polynesia. It's not.
Right.
It's it's a culmination of 3 different things. It's genealogy, it's your occupation, and it's your I would say your personality traits and what you do, like your personal life experiences. That's what they highlight. They're real stuff that actually happened, not what you want to happen, not what you cultivate in your head, and real less more on the creative side, more on the constructive side. That's what uhi is. So when somebody puts on a Polynesian design, I'm not necessarily insulted because they're not wearing our sacred stuff. This stuff is for people that's not meant for the old stuff. You're not ready for this, then that's okay. We have this. This is nice. Here's $5,000. Go run away. You know what I mean? So that's how I feel it. That's how I feel about it. You know, growing up, I used to think all these things. Everybody that's brown, that's learning that it's okay to be brown and learning how to be brown, you have those feelings. The overthrow. It's not okay for do this, do that. Like, you get those angry like feelings when you learn the truth initially, but then when you take yourself out of your own perspective and you look at the grand scheme of things and how it plays out, it just really works out that way.
Hell yeah.
And so getting into that with the old stuff, when I see one Haole or one Palangi wearing old stuff, that makes me go, whoa. I'm either about to get very angry or very interested. I'm going to make friends with this guy. So what's your story? And then he starts telling me all of these names of these guys, the stuff that he does. And I go, that's on Maka'i. You did sandbox time or something? The spearheads, right? So that means that you have war experience. Not just because you're strong and you can punch guys in the face. Like, the nature of the Maka'ihe is war. So you're telling me you did 6 tours in Afghanistan and that's how many heads you got on your resume? Okay, respect. I ain't gonna, dig into that.
For sure.
And if Keone, if Kamali'i Hanohano, if Kalehua Krug, if Kili'i Makua, if all of these guys that carry the O to work, acknowledge you like that, that's good enough for me. Because that's who I answer to.
Yeah,
you know?
Yes, sir.
So, that's where the match comes from.
Man, hey, this guy told me I never done a podcast. Bro, you're made for podcasting, bro, for real.
I did kind of one in my friend Kyoki's garage. We kind of just hanging out, talking story like this. But when it comes to Hawaiian kind of stuff, there's just the stuff that I know. I don't know a lot of stuff, but the stuff I know, I really know.
Bro,
very educated.
Yeah.
You could feel tons of books that I need to read up on some of this stuff, bro,
and
for real.
That's the whole point, you know. Like people get like self-conscious sometimes when I'm around in the room, and they dig down deep in them, and like how you said, plastic Samoans, plastic this, plastic that. Like I understand that feeling.
Right.
I just had that feeling at an earlier time in my life. That's just the stage that you're at. There's never a time where it's too late to ho'okanaka or to, I don't know your guys' phrase, but fa Samoa. You know,
fa Samoa.
It's never too late for that. You can always pick up a book. It's free. It's not illegal anymore. Nobody's gonna die if you go learn about yourself and how to say your name right. You know, so it's okay now.
Right.
So there's no really any kind of time constraint. There's no speed or pace that you have to learn in that.
Of course.
As long as you're trying to learn about your ancestors and where we came before, then you're learning about yourself.
Right.
How you gonna tell me where you're going if you don't know where you came from? Then you just lost.
Yeah,
that's why we get problems. You know what I mean?
Sir.
We're incarcerated is at an all-time high. Drug addiction, gang activity, unnecessary violence, domestic abuse, all that stuff stems from colonization.
Yes, sir.
And we had the platform and the kaha, or the path, to already walk through, and that was wiped away.
Right.
Now we're getting lost and we don't know where to go anymore. So you'll find yourself like with kind of fulfilling that spiritual awakening that every human needs. Well, I don't care if you're white, brown, purple, pink, black, or orange. Everyone has that moment in their life where they need to connect to something deeper than themselves.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And if you don't, you're gonna.
Yeah,
Trust me, mark my words, it's gonna happen.
Of course. Identity crisis, you're gonna have to.
Yeah, and then before you know it, if you're not careful with that, you don't look at your own stuff, you're gonna be packing around bongos on your back, playing beats from Africa. You're gonna have crystals from India and China, and all of these things that people share with you, but that's not yours to share with other people. You know what I mean? And I value our traditions versus culture. Traditions is a word that you claim from a perspective of being in the circle.
Yes.
So from now on, you talk about Fa'a Samoa, that's traditions, it's not culture.
Right.
When I speak about Samoa, that's culture to me.
Right.
Because I'm not from there. So I can see stuff, I can understand it, but I'll never know because I'm not in it.
Right.
You know? So that's the difference between tradition and culture to me and how I express that.
But honestly, man, that makes total sense. I mean, we grew up. My father's side, pretty much all full Samoan. Like I said, my mother, she's pretty much half and half Samoan and Hawaiian.
Portuguese too.
Yeah, Portuguese. She has Portuguese blood. you. And we grew up in a lot of the cultures, just especially when it comes to Samoans. If you don't speak the language, you're automatically labeled as plastic.
Oh yeah, they're mean.
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
I've seen that. Yeah,
bro. And honestly, it is what it is. For me, this was what my grandparents had dreamed of, was to bring us here so we could make a better life for ourselves and our future generation.
Absolutely.
But that's my biggest thing, is I want to get back to the culture, try to learn, and through people like you, man, they can find that. I'm telling you, if you are not following this man on Instagram, are you on TikTok?
I might be. I don't really use that too much. I'm still like kind of old when it comes to that kind of stuff.
I feel you.
IG is the one that I'm like super ma'a to or familiar with, so I'll just copy paste my IG to my
there
TikTok.
You go. Yep.
Every once in a while you get some dumb stuff, and then until my dad sees it and tells me to delete it, I'm like, okay. Yeah.
But I'm telling you, if you're not following my man, you're doing yourself a disservice, especially if you're part of the culture or learn your traditions.
My man.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Major bars too.
Yeah,
bro.
for real,
Major
man. Major bars.
Yeah.
Honestly, me and him were talking. We're like, man, is this guy part of Southern Russia or what?
I wish. I'm trying to be.
Hell yeah. Hey, get my man on, bro. I'll tell you, bars. And we're going to dive into that later, because you had like a 3-part series on your social media of one of your songs.
Yeah.
But especially because you're so heavy in the culture, how was life like growing up from being within the culture to like the fast lane here in the States?
Well, so first I was always, I always had that kind of view of being like weird, because even in Hawaii, like being Hawaiian in Hawaii, like at least the type of Hawaiian that I am, it's not common in my age group. Being Hawaiian is cool and it's okay to do, but it's like not easy. It's very difficult to carry old traditions and ancient practices and then still live the American dream at the same time. It's a lot to carry.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you're not isolated and getting all of this stuff force fed down your throat and up your butt, like you're not gonna be able to hold on to that. It was really, I had a very, I wouldn't say good or bad or valuable or not. I would say that it was different. It was definitely very different. I stood apart from all of my friends, all of my peers, just in Hawaiians alone.
Wow,
you know?
That's crazy.
And a lot of my peers didn't, not to the fault of their own, they didn't have the opportunities and they weren't directed and they didn't have the support to push them in that direction.
I see.
For me, like, it wasn't the entire time. My family, my great grandmother, she was fluent in Hawaiian. That's the language I heard straight out of the womb.
Yeah.
My mother spoke. My father taught himself when he was 32 years old. He taught himself how to speak through reading books. Wow. He taught himself by reading books and speaking to my great grandmother.
Right.
And my sister, who's 4 years older than me, was already in the Hawaiian immersion program. So Hawaiian was already like implemented in my DNA before I came out.
For sure.
It's the first thing that I heard. Poi was the first food that I ate. I was Hawaiian as hell.
Yes,
you know what I
sir.
mean? But not everyone has the benefit due to victims of circumstances and history and genocide and suppression, oppression, all that sad stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
I just, to a certain point, I got a foundation and they just kind of let me run with it. And then I was the one to make those conscious decisions of wanting to keep perpetuating this stuff that I learned already.
Right.
I could have walked away from it and become whatever it is I wanted, you know, and my family would have supported that.
For sure.
But it just so happens that I was just like, I'm gonna be Hawaiian for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
So,
you have no choice.
yeah.
No choice.
But to get back to the question, sorry.
No.
So I already had that mindset like growing up in Hawaii. So coming to Las Vegas, times 20,000. And in a way, Las Vegas has a lot of Hawaiian elements to it.
Of course.
Because it's a tourist attraction, because it's a money monopolizing type of city. It operates off of people traveling.
Right.
You get different cultures and different people from all kinds of parts of the world, and you get that in Hawaii as well.
Yes.
So Hawaiians were really we have like a really broad history of like blending and adapting and like I guess what's the word? Code switching.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I can kick it with the homies.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Right,
Like,
yeah, you already know.
yeah, it was a little cringy, but we're still working on it. I got like 3 years of Ebonics in my system right now. But you know, you learn to switch and turn your brain on and off and morph to these different personalities and different types of people, and that's real like Hawaiian. That's a Hawaiian thing to do.
Of course.
And so that switch, as far as like the personality traits, like it was an easy switch, but it was a lot.
Right.
Yeah. The hardest thing that I did was drive. That was difficult.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
We have like maybe like 4 lanes. That is our biggest. We just got an overpass maybe like within the past 5-10 years in
Maui?
on Maui. Yeah. Wow. And on the west side in Lahaina. That was our first one.
Hell.
Back to so the hardest part for me was driving. You
Right.
know, and we're not even the hardest one to drive. The next island over is Molokai. They only got 1 lane and it stops halfway through the island.
Man.
And they have 1 stoplight and it doesn't even work anymore. You know what I mean? It takes 45 minutes to go around the island of Kauai. So
Wow.
anybody that can drive in Honolulu, that's a whole different story. It's like the third or top 5 most concentrated cities in the, I guess, country, so to speak. And if you can drive in Oahu, you can drive anywhere.
Right.
I have not touched Oahu in driving until maybe last year or this past August was the first time I drove over there. And it was easy because I learned how to drive here. Learning how to drive here was way easier. You send any bush baby to Oahu to go learn how to drive, they'll panic.
Oh yeah.
At least I did anyway. I'm speaking for myself here, right?
Of course.
So, yeah, just learning the big city life, and everything's always on a pace. And if you stop for 5 seconds, you're gonna get left behind.
Right.
Life is always going on. No one cares about how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Everyone has like some sort of agenda, trying to work to some top of a club or some money running. You know, that's just it's not a bad thing. It's just if you want to live in the big city, you better get your big boy pants on. You better turn your feelings off and get ready to get, you know, screwed over.
Right.
Yeah,
or screw other
facts.
people over. Like, that's just what happens.
Man, that's the sad part.
Yeah. But it is sad. But to me, how I look at it, glass half full, half empty, right? It is sad. But with the most tumultuous and bad experiences, we learn to really appreciate the good ones. Yeah.
Man, yeah.
So I found a lot of solid people here.
Yes, sir.
And those solid people are solid as hell.
Yes.
You know?
1000%.
So I have a deep appreciation for the ones that are close to me here.
Of course, of course, and you got to keep that circle tight. And that is funny that you do say that. I mean, we spent most of our life here, and honestly, it kind of took us a little while to kind of find our circle. No, would you?
Yeah,
agree?
we were like bouncers. bouncing from.
Sometimes
Yeah,
it takes a while to
1000%,
figure out
for
that your
sure.
friends aren't your friends either. You go a couple
Yeah.
of years, and then all of a sudden they start acting funny. It's like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Let me reset. I've said this before, and I get a lot of hate for it, but bro, Aloha Spirit, Las Vegas, this is where Aloha comes to die.
Man.
If your Aloha's not good from the gate,
Yeah.
it's not gonna last out here.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true.
I remember the first time I kind of distributed Aloha. I was working with this guy. I was doing like some piss poor jobs when I first got here because actually I gotta go back a little bit more. I thought I had 9 jobs when I came here, like, or opportunities.
Oh,
So
I see.
I got this message on Facebook. He said, hey, I'm opening up a room. Come live here. I said, yeah, cool. I got a savings. I have friends in Vegas. Let me hit them up. I had 9 people telling me, yeah, bro, we'll hire you. We need you to come over here. Come to Vegas. It's good for fighting. All this stuff. You'd love it. And I rolled up. I applied to 30 places, like hotels and all of that.
Of course.
2 got back to me
Of course.
out of the 30. Those
course.
9 friends, all of them fell apart. One, because the company went
Jeez.
bankrupt. We just would hire somebody.
I see.
I don't work there anymore. Like
Right.
me just being like a, what was I, 22? A 22-year-old bush baby, don't know shit about Sorry.
Right. No.
About,
You
about
good.
the
You
city.
good.
Like, I don't know
Yeah.
shit about anything. I'm
Right.
thinking, oh, Aloha gonna take care, because Aloha been taking care of me my whole life.
Right, of
You know what I mean?
course,
And
of
then if
course.
something bad happens to you out here, it's like, oh, sucks to suck.
Yeah,
know?
bro.
So when I was working at this one place, it was like $10 an hour. I was screwing heads on dolls, like putting those sizing stickers on shirts. Like I was doing a lot of
Oh, hell yeah.
processing
Of
for
course.
Marshall.
Yeah, Marshalls.
Yeah, I was doing that, getting paid $10 an hour, doing all kinds of crazy shit, all kinds of walks of life, like guys getting out of jail after 20
Mhm.
years, former drug addicts, people trying to get their life together.
Of course.
And I'm over here, I'm like, damn, I need to humble myself real quick. You know what I mean? Like
Really?
in the trenches, you know, like life's not as hard as you think until you meet somebody
Yeah.
that's been through some shit. You
Fair
know.
enough. Fair
So I
enough.
was doing that, and then I'm picking up this guy because he just got out of jail, and I felt bad. And my Aloha Spirit, you know, was, I'm gonna take this guy home. I was driving on a 4Runner. It cost me $70 to fill up my tank every 4 days. I'm driving to freaking Nellis, 45 minutes. Mind you,
side, yes, sir.
I lived in Henderson at the time.
All right.
So I drove from, it was right down from Silverado, in Sunset,
Oh, I see.
and I drove to Nellis, and then I drove 45 minutes down,
Mhm.
and then an hour back.
Yep.
And I did that every day for like a month and a half.
Every day.
Guy never said thank you. He's like, see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Wow.
I mean, that's Aloha, right? Like, you don't
Yeah.
expect something from
But
everybody.
still.
But after being here for so long, it's like, bro, for real. Not even
Yeah.
one musubi or something. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah, bro.
So after a while, and he didn't even take it personally. He was
Right.
probably just like, when he said, oh, we going? I was like, nah. And he's like, okay. Like, he didn't even take it personal because
Right.
the receiving end of his Aloha Spirit was numb. He didn't know that somebody was taking care of him. He just thought, like,
Man.
you know what? That's this guy's decision. It's not mine. You know,
Right.
he can take me if he wants. If not, I'll catch the bus. I'll do without it. Like, it wasn't like a thing to him. And
Yeah.
that was one of the first instances where I was like, whoa, I need to be careful.
For sure.
Like, definitely the world needs Aloha, but
For sure.
Aloha only goes so far. They don't pay the bills and they'll fill my gas
Yeah,
tank, you know?
man, that's true.
So,
Absolutely.
And that's one of the biggest struggles I think I face with is, especially being I have 3 kids.
mhm.
Ages from 8, 6, and 3, and that's one thing I try to teach them the most. Like you said, like show your alofas no matter what. Always show love. You always make sure you respect people and treat them how you would want to be treated. But you're always gonna run into those instances, and unfortunately, you will see it a lot outside of the culture.
Mhm.
But here, like you said, in the city, man, you see it everywhere with the culture and without the culture.
And you'll never learn that unless, like I said, knowing and understanding. You'll
Yeah.
never know that unless you're in there. Like anybody.
Yeah.
So I say this particular thing that makes a lot of people cringe, and kind of like jump at me for it. But Aloha Spirit is a disease
You think so?
to me. Oh, sorry.
No.
In that sense where Aloha is not unconditional. That's what I mean when I say that. Everyone says, I just love somebody no matter what. Always go to high road.
Yeah.
That comes from colonization and people being nice and taking their teeth out of their mouths so they don't bite anybody, because if they show any form of aggression, any
Yeah.
form of a threat, they're instantly gone.
Yeah.
They're disintegrated. They're
Facts.
wiped from the history books. They're hung in the streets. All of that stuff comes from that type of history. That's why we
Right.
aloha everybody.
Right.
And if you keep sharing everything that you have, but you blink and you turn around, you don't have anything to share anymore.
Yeah.
The reason why that worked for us at that time is because everybody shared all the time with everybody.
Right.
Bro.
Never
Yeah.
have that selfish mentality. What's mine
Right.
is mine and only mine all
For
the time.
sure.
And we never we couldn't grasp that perspective just because that wasn't a lifestyle for us. So of course you're going to aloha, but aloha is conditional.
Right.
You give to me, I give to you. That's how it's supposed to work. And the only reason why it was viewed as, well, at that time they gave to everybody. That's because I give to you and then I'm getting something back. Somebody's always giving something. And it was happening everywhere. That's why it was viewed as unconditional, because there wasn't the factor of somebody not doing that.
Of course.
You give when you get. When you know more, somebody will give you. Does that make sense? That's just how I view aloha. So I get really frustrated when we go angry local on certain people and somebody throws a card on me and goes, "Oh, where's your aloha spirit?" I said, "It's in my back pocket. You're not getting any of this." Yeah, this is for my mom. This is for my sister. This is for my girlfriend when I get one. You know.
Hey, hit him up though. You know. Shout out the bachelor out here. Yo. So let me ask you, what do you prefer more? Do you prefer the island lifestyle or do you prefer it out here?
Ooh. I will always be a Kanaka Maoli till I die. From my first breath, I was Iwi Hawaii forever. You know, that was Koho'ia. And I will always prefer that. But I do know that in order for me to expand my horizons, be a bigger person, elevate my mindset, you know, solidify my discipline, I gotta go.
Right.
I believe that every Hawaiian child should leave the rock. At least for a little bit. You know, you don't gotta move away like how we always do, because we get distracted and we get lost, right?
Of course.
But
Life
I think,
experience.
you know, it doesn't matter how far and how long you leave. As long as your roots run deep, you can always follow them back.
Right.
Because it's real easy to get lost.
Right.
So I try to go back home like maybe twice a year at least, or any excuse. Of
course.
You know? So what I need to do out here cannot be accomplished by staying home.
I see.
So my mission out here is to, you know, build because I'm a service to my people.
Of
you
course.
know, however shape or form that I may be, whether I be a garbage man, fireman, rapper, scrapper, farmer, whatever. That all goes back to the people in some sort of time. Because without the people, without the lahui, without the kupuna, aumakua, the ancestors, I wouldn't be here.
Right.
And when Polynesians go to college and they run into all these Palangis and Haulis and all of these different people, and they go, "Wow, you're Hawaiian? Wow, you're Samoan?" And then the girl takes you in the back because you're handsome and you're brown and you're exotic and you piss off her dad. You know, you get that benefit because you claim Hawaiian.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you claim Samoan. So what are you doing to deserve that?
Man.
You got to give back.
Yes,
you know?
sir.
You get all that clout and all that mana. And sometimes when it's left unchecked, people get all discombobulated. It overflows them and it short circuits them and it ruins their lives. You know, I've seen it happen to people.
For sure.
Where they just get overflown and then all their life decision just goes to crap because, you know, they don't follow back and they don't give back. It's like I said, it's conditional. You know, you're going to take. And then all of a sudden the spirit or the other side of the veil is going to start taking from you because you're not giving back. It'll happen eventually.
For sure.
Whether it's 5 minutes from now or 20 years from now with your daughter when she goes to school.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah, full circle.
Yeah. We got about 14 minutes before we got to click the next one, but I don't want to hog all the questions. You got a question you want to ask right now?
Well, I'm really digging this right now before we even get into the MMA part.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to just soak it all in right now. But man, so what year did you move out here?
2018.
Oh, so recently.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Damn,
Okay.
man, 5 years ago, man. Hell yeah. So how has your adjustment been so far?
I think I started kind of elevating more so. I think it took me a year to realize I was gone.
Of course.
You know, like I'm really like not home anymore.
For sure.
It was because the first year I was just learning all these different things. I was distracted. Big lights, strip clubs, you know, sketchy people in the alleys giving me certain things that I'm not supposed to talk about on camera. You know, there's
allegedly
the partying and the big bright lights and the fast traffic and all of these different types of people. Like I was very like a deer in the headlights. You know, I was just off in La La Land for the first year.
For sure.
Second year was me like kind of running through the shock.
Right.
And like, okay, I'm numb now. Now what do I do? Then I start freaking out. I'm like, okay, wait, focus. I'm supposed to be on this path and doing this thing. Third year was kind of like lining myself up. I kind of took too long, in my personal opinion. If I had the mentality that I had in the third year that I was here, I'd be 3 times as far by now.
Right.
You know, these past 2 years have really picked up momentum for me, like with my music, with me like connecting back and reading old books and learning about myself, because I'm always growing with Hawaiian kind of stuff, right? It never stops.
Of course.
So there was my evolution as a kanaka, as a hakaka, as a kawa or a fighter. You know, all of that just started growing. exponentially within the past 2 years. And, you know, that's the whole point of me leaving, right? All of that suffering and all of that sacrifice, all of those gains and all of those good moments, fun memories, and growth as a human being, that wouldn't have happened if I stayed on Maui, where I'm used to or where I prefer.
For sure.
You know?
For sure.
So that's the benefits of this place. And our ancestors are really, we have a long history of that. You know, we have guns and cannons because Chief Kaiana went to China and found the gunpowder and brought it back. We have, you know, the oldest school west of the Rockies because of Kauikeaoli. He made it a law that every Hawaiian child needs to go to school by law. Wow. After that happened, all the Americans had to go to school. They modeled that off of us.
I see.
That's not something that people know.
Wow, I didn't know that.
We had
electricity
before the White House.
Wow.
You know, we have
actually I heard that before.
Yeah, we have all of these influential leaders and ali'i at our spaces and times where we found it was necessary to leave, innovate, as long as you come back.
Yes.
You know, there's clans of people that have left and haven't come back. They go to places like Alaska, Canada, Oregon, you know, and there's different Native Americans that come from Hawaii. Canada gets its name from Kanada, Kanaka.
Wow.
You know, if you go to Oregon, there's the Kalama Native Americans.
Yeah.
Kalama is one Hawaiian guy.
Yeah.
He came from Hawaii. That's how we get
our last name.
Oh, yeah?
Our Hawaiian side. Kalamas. Yeah.
Ano'ai, right on, brothers. And that's how we get lomi salmon. Because Samoan culture, right? You know, just so you guys get that perspective, we always send stuff home.
Right.
All the Hawaiians needed to work. They had it with Hawaii already. Right. Never had overthrow yet. So Kupa Aina and Lahui wasn't a thing at that time. They were just Kanaka, you know, living amongst each other. So having that sense of Aupuni or kingdomhood or, you know, nationhood wasn't like as important. Their family was first. Being Hawaiian was normal. It wasn't taken away from them at that time.
Right.
So, okay, we're gone.
Right.
So now they're sending food back, but nothing would last. So they bottle salmon. And then they send them back to Hawaii to all their families, and that's why lomi salmon is a Hawaiian food.
Sense. I was about to say, because salmon is definitely not native to Hawaii.
Hawaiians will always have all of these international treasures and jewels and accomplishment all across worldwide. Your clothes right now, I don't know how much percent of it is cotton, but half of that percent of cotton is Hawaiian.
Wow.
At the time, I believe it was late 1800s, early 1900s. All the cotton on the entire planet was dying. They weren't lasting in whatever cold front or climate change or whatever. Don't come at me for those terms, but all the cotton was dying. Yeah. So we have a cotton. It's called ma'o. Yeah, and the reason it's called ma'o, it's also our term for green, the color green, and it's called that because green or ma'o means there. Where is the color green? Ma'o. So that's
everything's green. That makes sense.
So that strain of cotton was so strong and so tumultuous that they crossbred them with cotton. So now all of the cotton all over the world was growing again. Wow. That's what one of my teachers told me when I was a kid. Came off of Kaho'olawe.
Dang, that's crazy. Hey, y'all better be thankful for us. For real.
Taking notes and mental notes right now.
So for real. I try to model myself, you know, like people want to talk about how they look up to their elders and their ancestors. Like I really believe in that shit. You know? So I'm looking like past all of that and trying to emulate like what can I do to keep that generational wealth going? What am I going to do on this planet? If it's this much, that's fine. You know, if I inspire one Kanaka to be more Kanaka, next thing you know, he's getting the Nobel Prize one day and like barely knows who I am. Maybe he shook my hand and said, yeah, I like your music, you know, and then that inspires him to ho'o Kanaka himself. Now we get one Native Hawaiian doctor or one Native Hawaiian Nobel Prize peace winner or whatever. Right. One Hawaiian president. Shout out to Barack.
Shout out to Barack, bro. We're going to claim that one for sure.
Yeah, but if I can get one and this is how much I do and I die tomorrow, that's this much we never have yesterday. Yes. You know? So that's why I say there's no pace. There's no later time as long as you're trying to do it and put like honest effort. You know what I mean? Don't just put the book on a table and be like, look, you take a picture on Instagram. But you know, like there's the Instagram Hawaiians, which you know, but also I do have to get into this. Like I badmouth a lot of people and I have to check myself because to me, how I look at us as a people get all kinds. I don't know if you guys know how taro grows, but we have hundreds and hundreds of different breeds. And since we trace our lineage to Halua, Hawaiians are Halua. So Hawaiians are like taro, right? Some taro, some breeds, it helps the poi get thicker. Some breeds is a flavor bomb. You only put one because if you put too much, it's real rich and it's kind of too much.
For sure.
Some taro is good for poi. Some taro is good. You cut them up, you put them on a table. Some taro, more better you just throw them away and throw them in the bushes. So when you get famine one day, you can go get huli from the bushes and go make more taro.
Yeah.
You know, there's a different use and a different version of every Hawaiian that exists. And the important thing to remember is Haloa is us.
Man.
And they're ours.
For
so
sure.
plastic Hawaiians, whatever you want to call them, Heineken Hawaiians, priests, medicine people, tattoo people, fighters, every single form of Kanaka is Kanaka, and we have to hold on to that.
For sure.
And we have more representation. Every infantry, every military, they have different roles and different ranks and different purposes.
Right.
You know, somebody gotta feed them in the kitchen.
Yeah. 100%.
Somebody gotta jump in the plane and look over first. We need scouts. We need the guys in the front lines that only last 10 minutes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
unfortunately.
and it's not that one is ranked over the other. One is more important. That's like a westernized concept.
Yes.
Like the ranking systems.
Of course.
I wouldn't rank Kanaka or Mea Hawaii or Mo'oku Ohau or Nohona Hawaii of any kind linearly. I wouldn't rank it like that. I would rank it more as like a broader base, and we're more outwards, kind of flat, like towards the ground, kind of lower. You know.
Of course.
We go out with almost like gears too, you know, like without the smallest person in the right spot, without that the whole machine is done.
Yes.
And that's why we're the way that we are,
man.
It's because we're always constantly after each other like that, like how I was being about 2 minutes ago before I started going off. I was just getting after somebody. I was like, wait, Pololu, check your shit, you know, like that's still us. And you know, all you can do with stuff like that is try to inspire people, help them out, always be available to share. Whatever I can, I will.
For sure.
But as long as you deserve it.
Yeah.
You know, don't be using me. Aloha is conditional. Put that on t-shirt.
Yes, for real. That's got to be a t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's got to be a Poi Poundah t-shirt for sure. Yeah. So, man, you've been saying some beautiful, beautiful words, brother. But following you on social media and even just having this conversation, brother, you truly make me, and I'm pretty sure my brother feels the same, proud to have even any Kanaka blood in our blood. Who for you best represents our people right now as far as a
limelight?
Yeah.
I cannot name one person.
Yeah.
You know, that's very difficult. What I like to do, at least the best thing I can do is pull from where I draw inspiration from. I can't pick one guy.
Right.
So different people are gonna look for different things. You know, if I was a hula dancer, maybe I would choose Edith Kanaka Ole. Right. You know, if I was a tattoo artist, I would choose Keone Nunez. You know, it all depends on what I want and where my priorities are in life.
Right.
But contrary to popular belief or how this is gonna look, my grandfather, Paul Hanae Nakanelua Jr., was the most Hawaiian man to me.
Yes.
Because he was the man that raised my father, who taught me how to be Hawaiian.
Man.
You know. And Paul, he was a county worker in downtown Honolulu. He grew up on Maui. Oh. He left Maui, got a job, graduated from St. Anthony, got a job on Oahu to pay for an apartment for all of his siblings.
I see.
He had 6 or 7 siblings that he got the job to help so they could go to school. Right. The oldest one bared all of the family responsibility. Samuel can relate to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course.
At his time, being Hawaiian was not okay. Kanaka was the N-word.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that wasn't like the vibe. So when my father put us in Hawaiian immersion school, it's like, why are you wasting your time with that stuff for? That was the type of generation that, not just him, everybody in his peer group was like, Hawaiian was drinking Heineken, and every Sunday we do the imu for the fundraisers. That was the reach that the Nohona Hawaii had with them, and that's how they found a way to survive, to get the financial support that they needed to support their families.
Right.
You know, my papa was always the last guy to eat, always the last guy to sit down, made sure everybody ate first.
Right. And
made sure everybody got to rest. He was the first one to wake up in the morning. He was one of the most strongest and hardest working people that I'll ever know in my life. Rest his soul.
Right.
And, you know, that guy was the only person on this planet that my father was in fear of.
Of course.
You know, and
course.
my dad is the only one that I'm in fear of.
Of course.
So if he scares that guy, yeah.
Facts.
So there's a lot of respect and reverence, and you know, though he
Yes.
didn't have the Nohona stuff at his time, the spirit and the nature of that man was the most Hawaiian that I'll ever know.
Man.
You know,
That
at least
part.
that's what was taught to me and how I saw things.
Of course.
And to sum it up like that, yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I definitely relate. For me, it was my great grandmother. I have her tatted on myself as well. Anybody in P-Town, Pomona, California, they know, like, if you want to know real Samoan and who put a lot of the Samoan community in that region together and make sure that everybody was taken care of, my old lady was the same way. And I'm grateful for your grandfather, because if not, man, we would not have you. And you're a shining example of what Kanaka should be, for real, man. Let me see. I have another question. And not trying to avert from your background or anything, but it is AAPI, Asian American Pacific Islander Month. The news has been going crazy, especially within our culture. I don't know if you know who Jeannie Mai is. I just
need to be educated on that one.
I just found
Wait,
out
the
who
one
she
that's
is.
with
what's his name?
Jadakiss? No, it's not Jadakiss.
It's
one of those old rappers.
Yeah, it was one of the old school rappers. But they had a big AAPI event, and she went on stage and pretty much secluded the Polynesian part of AAPI month, and was only celebrating Asians and this, that, the other. What are your thoughts on it? Do you think we need our own month?
To keep matters simple, no.
For sure.
I don't think so. For
For
me,
sure.
I think it just became like one of these new age things where everybody needs their time to shine or whatever.
Right.
And they need like this special microphone and this and that. I'm like, bro, if you're real, people gonna know.
Yeah.
You know, like people are gonna look at me and think I'm Mexican.
Right.
You talk to me for 5 minutes, I'm Hawaiian as fuck.
Yeah,
bro. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like, I don't have to show you a birth certificate. I don't have to tell you where I come from. You just be with me, and that's who Hawaiian is. So
Yes.
I wouldn't leave it to a month to be special, because that suggests that the other 11 months I'm not special.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And to kind of shift the perspective, nobody's special.
Yeah,
I don't care what
that
anybody
part,
says.
man.
If everybody's special, nobody's special.
Nobody's special.
So to me, I think everyone deserves a day.
Right.
And that's every damn day.
Yes.
Be unapologetically Samoan, Tongan, Fijian, Tahitian, Nukuhivan, Hawaiian, Kanaka, whatever.
Yes.
Be you, bro.
Of course.
And if that's not you, that's not a problem. You know what I mean? Like,
course.
get plenty Hawaiians to take your spot if you're not down, bro. Like, it's
sure.
fine. And as long as it's special to you, I guess that's all that matters, right? That's like such a hippie thing to say. You know, as long as you're happy at the end of the day. But for me, every day is Hawaiian AAPIH Elemental P month for me. You know,
Right.
like, just wake up and whatever you do is Hawaiian.
Yes, sir.
Everything you do in this life will be Hawaiian if you're Hawaiian.
Of course. Of course. No
feel
matter
like
what.
That's how I see it.
These months and stuff, like certain culture months or donut day, it's just a way to sell stuff, bro.
Yeah,
Kind
honestly.
of shady subject. I think it's to pass off of how open the American system is and
Right.
the American dream and having everybody has a chance, which is
Yeah.
is an illusion.
Yes.
It's a facade. Not everybody has a chance.
Right.
If you want something to happen for you, if you want to feel special, you got to make that shit happen. Nobody's
Yes.
going to save you. Nobody's going to help
Yes.
you out. If you're going to lie down in a corner and expect somebody to come pull you out, you can pray to whatever unicorn, bearded uncle in the sky all you like. Nobody's coming. You're going to rot in there.
Yes.
Yes.
And actually, alluding back to how you held yourself accountable for the things that you said about other Hawaiians, it's the same thing. You're never going to succeed unless you keep yourself accountable.
Yeah.
Half of the damn problems y'all go through, myself included,
Uh-huh.
are all brought on by yourself. I can tell you every single thing that has gone wrong in my life, literally, I had control of.
Yep.
And I allowed either someone to overcross me, or I allowed certain energies to come into our... Regardless of the fact, I already
Or gave
know.
back certain energies.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I know that it's on me. Y'all gotta think the same way. It's annoying that a lot of people do not see the same. You see it all over social media. That's probably the cringiest thing I see for sure.
Anything above that is just blessings to me. You know?
Yes.
And that's when you thank whoever you thank.
Right.
You know, you can ask for stuff and you manifest that energy and you're careful about it. You can ask all you like. You can beg all you like. But that opens the question, right? It's a question. Somebody,
Right.
the guy upstairs or to the left or wherever he is to you, he can still say no.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? It's a question. Like, hey, can I be 6 feet? Look what he said. Can I have those
That's true.
dreadlocks? Look what he said. You know? Like,
Hey, but for real, nobody rocks a better ball head than you. But That's why I have these dreads. I
appreciate
cannot
that.
have a bald head. My head is all lopsided.
Yeah.
I have to divert it a little bit.
I was recently told if Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart had a baby.
I saw that post.
You see it?
Yeah.
I
love
Shout
it,
out to
bro.
my two dads. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
What's up,
yeah.
Oos? What's up, Oos?
I have to ask you because you've only been here in Vegas for 5 years.
Uh-huh.
Everybody has a crazy Vegas story. Do you have a crazy Vegas story?
Oh, you gotta give me a topic. I gotta narrow it down, and I gotta put it in my head and make sure my parents don't see this.
As far as like partying, like on the strip or Ghost Bike, or usually bad things happen at Ghost Bike. But
I'll try and keep it. Vague.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was on the party scene for a while. I was still, I was a functional partier. I still had my stuff together.
Of course.
But one time. This was on the course of months. The only reason why I partied so much is because I could sustain it. I was paying my bills, I was training, I was doing all of this stuff, and I didn't have an issue. So
why not?
Yeah. And so I was in the scene, I was raving, I was getting into all that, white people shit.
Yeah.
And I was falling around this crowd, and I blink, and next thing you know, it's 10 a.m. and I'm in this dive bar in God knows where. And I don't wake up. I just come to like a that's a reason. I last thing I remember was being at this festival, and then I'm in a bar and the sun is up, and I see this guy with his nipple out comparing his piercing to the girl sitting next to him. So I was like, ooh, oh. What's happening? I need to. So I took a hard look in the mirror, and I'm like, "You need to get your shit together, my friend." Like, that was like my real like eye opener of like, you gotta. That's Vegas is gonna eat me and swallow me up. I just crawled out of the back end of the throat. I was like, "Okay, that's safe. Let's get our shit together."
Yeah, of course.
So that was about maybe 3 years ago. That happened.
See, but see, everybody has to go through that. I feel like, especially.
Do they though? Like, I get so mad because I'm such in a good spot, and I'm like, frick, bro, why didn't I just do this from day one?
Yeah, true.
Oh my god, I'd be in the UFC by now.
Yeah.
Bro.
But you would never know what not to do unless you do it. You know what I mean?
I guess that's true. My family seems to think I'm one of those people. You learn your lessons in one of a few ways. Say we got an electric fence, right?
Yep.
One of your homies pisses on the fence and gets shocked, and you're like, okay, I'm not doing that because my friend got shocked.
Yeah.
I'm the dumbass that gotta take a piss on a fence. That's how I learned my lessons.
That's my youngest son. He's the same way.
How hot is the fire? Like, how sharp is this knife? Let me look. That's where this scar came from. Like,
oh, bro.
yeah, I was sharpening my knife, and I was like, you know what, is this? And then it just started. Oh yeah, no, that's sharp. That's how I learned my lesson. So I guess you're right about that, but I'm just like, I just wish I didn't have to learn like that. I'm trying to be better about it, but yeah, that's my biggest story.
Yeah, man, I have some bad ones. I'll definitely get into that in another episode.
I actually have a good story after you. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, this is a good one.
Yeah.
This is actually my first real Vegas story. Now that I think about it, so I was working at Topgolf. I was doing security over there, and I was running the front, and I was still kind of like blending in. I was about 2 months in, and I hear like on the radio like, hey, we got a 416, like one argument and then one fight, 417 or whatever.
Yep.
And I run down there, and there's a Pololu on the ground, like knocked the fuck out.
Right.
And he gets up and he runs away. I'm like, okay, I guess, I'm done. I didn't. That's the easiest job I ever had to do. Back home security is a whole lot more different. You gotta call ambulance. You gotta do CPR, stitch guys' heads back up. Like I didn't have to do that. I was like, I didn't have to do anything. That's awesome. So I hear in the background, and I'm like, oh, you fuck up, bro. These guys, they don't fucking know this and that. Like, the accent, I hear it.
Of course.
And I'm like, oh. And there's like 12 of us security guards, like, here, like, and I'm like, oh, no. Because this is when Black Lives Matter was going on. So we got authority figures, security, ganging up on one guy.
Oh, shoot.
And he's brown.
Of course.
So it's like, oh, we're those guys now.
Yeah.
That's where the narrative. Anybody with an iPhone, this is gonna be bad.
Of course.
So I'm like, hey, my aloha spirit.
Yeah.
My aloha spirit comes out, and I'm like, you know what, guys? I get him. I got this. They're like, what? I said, I can handle this.
Of course.
So I go out there. I'm like, hey, how's it, bro? What's going on, brother? And he's like, hey, bro, these fuckers still don't know. I was like, fuck is this? Bro, where you from? He's like, where I from? Where you from? And I'm like, bro, I'm from Maui. He goes, you're not from Maui. I'm from Maui. Makawao. And we start knowing all the same people.
Oh,
and
cool.
this is my cousin. And now he's my friend.
Of course.
This guy's got to be like 180, maybe 5'9", 5'10" at the biggest, you know. And I'm who I am.
Right.
And so he gives me a big old hug, 2 arms around me, and he squeezes me real tight. And he's like, bro, I love you. I was like, bro, yeah, I get on, bro. But, hey, you got to calm down because like, you small kind too jacked. Like, you too drunk.
Of course.
Like, you got to calm down. And he's got this hug, and he's like, I'm not fucking jacked. And he squeezes, and I'm like, oh, man. My little legs were, like, in the air like this. I'm like, bro, my butt looks so small right now. Everyone's watching. I'm, like, supposed to be this MMA fighter, and I'm getting picked up like a little kid after school, right? And I'm like, oh. So I headbutt the guy. And then we both go down, and then next thing you know, we got 10 guys on this one guy, and then I black out, and I start swearing, and then I get off of him, and I start telling everybody to get off, and I'm like, bro, stand this fuck up right now, I'm gonna kick his ass. Like, I was just like, super unprofessional, but everyone loved it.
Of
You know what I
course,
mean?
of course.
They're like, yeah,
The whole
finally,
went
he started
crazy.
doing stuff. Like, I picked him up and like slammed my head on the curb, and I was bleeding everywhere.
Man.
Next thing I know, I'm blacked out, and I come to, and I'm playing a ukulele on the curb. I don't know where I got it from. I don't know how I got a hold of it, but I was trying to calm myself down by playing music.
That's
Like,
hilarious.
yeah, and the next thing you know, like the girlfriend is like trying to like come out. So you're from Maui, huh?
Oh,
So what's
gosh,
your
of
name? Where are
course.
you from? Are you gonna let my boyfriend out of jail? You know what I mean?
Of
Like she's trying
course.
to play that game, and I'm like,
course.
so the cops like finally get there, and then they put him in cuffs, and they're like, hey, do you want to press charges? And I'm like, I don't know what that means. I'm like, am I gonna make money off of it? And they're
Right.
like, no. And I'm like, well, let him go then.
Yo, for
And then
real.
he ended up head banging against the car, splitting his shit open, bleeding everywhere. They had to call an ambulance, and then he went to jail right after because he was damaging the police car.
Of course.
And it was, I believe it was a Thursday, and the next day was a holiday.
Yeah.
So
you
Brado was in there
a
for 4 days
while.
straight.
Yeah,
You know.
Yeah, you.
And I'll just put it this way: he used to be somebody who owns Komoda Bakery in Makawao. So which was funny because I ended up meeting his former partner later,
Oh, I see.
and they knew about the story, but they weren't there. So they came
I
up to me
see.
like it had to have been like maybe a year and a half to 2 years later after it happened.
Wow.
And they came up to me and they're like, "Hey, I heard you got into it with my former partner or whatever." I was like, "Yeah, that was fun," but that was my first Vegas story, and that honestly was actually probably the first time that I had to gauge my aloha spirit
Of
and who I give it to.
course,
I was like,
of
"Oh, you Hawaiian, I'm
course.
gonna help you out." Yeah, joke's on me. I get picked up.
Of course.
So
And
He
you
was
were only here
nuts.
2 months, huh?
yeah.
He was nuts.
I would like to keep that story rather than the other story.
Yeah, but see, that's the
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
too.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I used to be a bouncer downtown over at Ghost Bike, and that's the thing. You ask any of our bouncers, like our whole security team was all Uso. Well, there's a lot of Hawaiians there and a lot of Tongans on that team too. But that's
was
one
an
thing that
offensive
we,
line.
Yeah, for real. But that's one thing that we all say. There's nobody that walks in that building that makes us tremble. Not even tremble, but like, man, fuck. Than our own people. 'Cause
Yeah.
they come in
Yeah.
already expecting like, hey, Oos, you gonna hook me up, Oos? Hey, I got you, Oos.
You hear the fa'aomo from
man.
2 blocks down?
Yo,
Like,
for real.
oh no!
Like, bro, hey, just come in, be respectful, get your drinks, and get out.
Yeah,
Nah, you
yeah,
guys
yeah,
always
yeah.
gotta come in, fucking fight everybody.
What's that saying? I'm a close. It be your own people sometimes.
Yeah, bro, for real, for real. Dude, so knowing that, do you ever have any of that when you get into your fights, your MMA fights against your own kind?
I grew up. Most of my fights in my amateur scene, I was 8, 9, 10. I had 12 amateur fights, and I want to say 3/4 of them were Hawaiian,
Of course.
and we never really had that everybody like scrap. So
Yeah, of
it's really
course.
no big deal, and it's not a you
Right.
against me kind of a thing. I just want to do it.
For sure.
You know,
for
and
sure.
and the more you're down to scrap, the more I'm down to scrap. And then it's a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
it's a
you.
good time, and then we're friends after. You know.
Of course.
But out here, like for me, I've gained the mentality of trying to make it. I'm
Right.
trying to be in the UFC. I'm trying to be in PFL. I'm trying to be in Bellator. Any kind of like upper scale, elite level,
Yes.
mixed martial arts. I'm trying to get to the next level.
Of course.
I'm not trying to be a still guy.
Of
I don't want to be
course.
still training at this place and still being at this level. Still not in. I'm trying to
Still got
trying to get somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna get there by stepping on other Hawaiians.
Yes.
So when I turned pro,
Dang.
I fought a guy from Hawaii. He wasn't Hawaiian, and every fight after that, I refused. I turned down maybe 4 fights. Even this past like maybe 3 weeks ago, they have a Tough Enough that's coming up in July. Yeah. They asked me to fight another Hawaiian, and I said no, I'm not doing that.
Of course.
You know, I'm not. They have that
awesome
that Papai syndrome. They have this thing. Are you guys familiar with it? The Papai, the crab syndrome. So there's a bucket when you go crabbing. You show all the crabs inside, and they all try to get to the top. And it doesn't matter who gets out; they're gonna pull you back down.
Of course.
And we have that's just something that we do because it circles all the way back to colonization. Whether whoever it was that did it, it made us, you know, real. It introduced greed. It introduced toxic competition. Right. You know, no one's against you in this life. You're born one day and you're gonna die one day, and it doesn't matter who's in front of you, who's behind you. We all gonna die. Yeah. You know. So with us, we were taught those perspectives and those mindsets to where we're on an island. And there's X amount of water, and there's X amount of land, and there's X amount of coconuts and pineapples and spears, and I need it and you don't, and that's all there is to it. Because we learned that type of mentality, because other people were taking away from us, we started taking away from each other, and then they stopped taking from us. They let us go, but we were already poisoned with that disease in our heads. They already laid those eggs. So now we're acting like them. You know? And that's a trait and I guess a practice that I wanna kill off. For me, you know.
Sure.
So if there's any opportunity that I can work to build Hawaiians up, no matter what shade or what, I don't know if they're wood Hawaiians, plastic Hawaiians, coconut Hawaiians, whatever. You know, I'm gonna help you if I can.
Hell yeah.
Until you screw me over.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Like I'll always say yes until it's no.
Right.
First. So.
Man, I really appreciate you saying yes to coming on the podcast.
100%. That's I'm telling you, like I don't bullshit about that. Like they can call it racist or that's a whole nother topic. I love that topic so much, bro. Anyway, they can call it racist or whatever, but like, he prefers polys or everything. 100%.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. I may have been born in America, but I was Hawaiian from when I started breathing. And before Hawaiians came to Hawaii, we came from Samoa. We came from Tahiti.
Yep.
You guys is the elder brothers. We gotta respect and we gotta share as much as we can.
Of course.
Not a lot of people see it like that, but that's just how I live my life and what I try to, you know, implement and however I do things.
Of course, and honestly, if you really look back at our cultures, that's what the epitome is. You've been speaking on this whole time, man. Like it's not about bringing each other down; it's about raising each other up. Yeah. We all eat. Yeah. We're Polynesians. I say this all the time. My life goal is to build a buffet. I'm not gonna make your plate, but I'm gonna bring enough food where you can make your own plate and feed yourself. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing. Yeah. Well, since we already dove into MMA a little bit, I had asked Monix a while ago on one of our previous episodes. Right now, we currently have 3 Mexican champions in the UFC. Do you ever see us being the same way? Do you see a time where we are, or do you think we're closer to it, or you think it's going to be later down the road where we're going to see multiple Polynesian champions?
So we had BJ Penn.
Yep.
And we had
Maxi Boy.
And
Ali Malay.
Yep. We got Ali Malay.
Who else?
All at the same time, Hawaii has anything is possible. All right, I don't want to be that guy. As long as you eat your vegetables, hug your mom, listen to your dad, save your money, you can do whatever you want with your dreams. Yeah, okay. Right. Anything's possible, right? But for Hawaiians, in every shape of the word, for Polynesians, life is harder. Yeah, it's more challenging in this country and the way that the things work and the way that we've been gentrified for success. Right. It's not an excuse. Right. It's a reality. You know, life isn't easier for Mexicans here. Right. You know, 1,000%. They go through the same issues that we do. Yes. Whether it's a different smell, color, shape, or form, it's the same shit.
Yes, sir.
And they made it out of there.
Yes, sir.
But Mexican is this big. You know, Hawaii is this big. Samoa is this big. Yeah. And we're all spread across Oceania. Yeah. You know. So, do we have more obstacles? Yes. Do we have the same obstacles? Also, yes. So we can do it. For me personally, but I'm just trying to get my name on the roster.
Yeah, you know for real?
Like I'm just trying to make it, and you know, just a Taro Patch Kid trying to make it. And, you know, and you know, I see a lot of good talent, especially in my gym where I'm at. You got Brad Tavares. He's the big uncle. He's the big brother. You got Ty Gorder, Kaleo Meheula, Alpuni Pagoa, Rodney Kealohi, Boston Salmon, Kanalu Kimokeo.
Is Kai Boy Kamaka out of
Kai Kamaka fights out of Extreme Couture too. There are so many Hawaiians in there. I was overwhelmed by the amount of Hawaiians. That's how I got here in the first place.
That's awesome.
So my first gym, I was going to college in Hilo.
Oh, okay.
And I was working my fire science degree and all of that. and I tried to do MMA part time. My first gym was out of BJ Penn's on Kino Ole Street.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it was under Boss MMA was the MMA team. Rossi Bonas was the head coach, and my first coach was Troy Mandalonis.
Right.
That's kind of how I got into fighting in the first place. You know, I was getting beat up in school a lot for being tiny, and I was small, but I had a big ass mount, so it got me beat up a lot.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And I wasn't defending myself properly. Like I was pulling pencils on kids and throwing chairs and shit, and like having like really bad outbursts, and like this isn't how you do that.
Right.
So instead of the bully getting sent to whatever class to learn how to be a better person, I had to learn how to react. Like that was like the thing. So my dad put me into taekwondo, and then that kind of phased out. I got over that, and then a jiu-jitsu school opened up. Maui Jiu-Jitsu under Luis Limao Heredia. He's a black belt under Hickson.
Right.
He grew up with them in Brazil. Then he went over to Maui and started his school there. So
and then you just had some private classes over there, no?
I did like an introductory thing.
Oh hell yeah!
You know, so
hell
I pay a lot of homage to them. My two main black belts are Sam Leroy and Joe Bowie. They're all accredited black belts in their own. They've competed in IBJJF and all of that.
Yeah.
World's like one of like the 12 guys to make it off of Maui.
Right.
So that's where I started there. And then like Maui has a lot of small sub gyms. It's not one big gym, which is part of our problem.
Yeah.
We have an issue with that.
Yeah.
The whole crab syndrome, everybody pulling each other down. Oh, you cannot train over there. Oh, who's this guy? Oh, you go train with him, but you go take with him. You're gonna take him to your fight, but I was with you the whole camp. I'm like, bro, as long as they do good, if they get the dub, you get the credit. You know what I mean?
For real.
Everybody on Maui knows that you did that. The island is this big.
Right.
So I started I started doing Kana MMA with like the Joy brothers at Sugiyashi Dojo Jutsu. They were doing like an MMA program over there. And then I made my way. I found Central Maui Boxing with Chaz Moleta and his dad Donovan over there. And then I played with Wailuku Boxing under Jeff McKee. And I was playing with that for a little bit. I ended up finding this other gym called Maui Martial Arts under Urban Fergestrom and learned Muay Thai from Shane Hoyt. That was my first Muay Thai introduction. And I was bouncing all over these different gyms in different spaces and places. And I just couldn't do it anymore at that particular time just because I didn't have the capacity. I lived so far away, like in the bushes, So driving to that was part of the reason why like I couldn't train at some of these gyms because they would shut down. And they were also so far away and driving, my sister had her own life of her own and my parents had jobs, So after that I found my martial arts under Ermin Fergestrom and a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt under Gustavo Machado. And he doubled the gym with Shane Hoyt, who spent 9 years in Thailand. So he was my first introduction to Muay Thai. After them, I ended up training with the boys at they call it FAM, was like this little warehouse that we like kind of trained at. It was just like some of the boys, me and who I call my big brother, Koro Kapuz. He invited me over there, and my real close training partner, Vincent Silva, and a whole bunch of the boys are my boy. My shout out to my boy Mitch, my boy Brada. And we all just we were that crew at that time. That's who was actually fighting. Like there's guys that were training and there's guys that were fighting. So that's when I kind of gravitated towards that. And after them, I moved to like kind of compartmentalize my hands because that's where I was lacking. I was a jiu-jitsu guy first, and then I went to go like learn how to do more hand stuff, and that's when I started training with Brandon Vischer. That was the Vipe, shout out to Snake Love,
Yes, sir.
And I was training with him for a while, and we ended up shifting from that. I got an amateur kickboxing belt under him when I was training with him, so that was a real testament to his coaching. That was really important. And through him, I met my tuakanga, my main man, Marvelous Tivanga. He's a Samoan kickboxer he was raised in Happy Valley, moved to Waianae as a kid, and then moved back. But that's where I met him. Like through training with Brandon was how I really gravitated towards him. And these different gyms on Maui, guys take breaks training, guys just kind of switch with fighters, and it's all over the place all the time. Like you really have to be like, sometimes you don't even know that there's gonna be a training practice. You just get a text and you just have to find your way there.
Hell yeah, that's what's up though.
I had all of these different guys that I was training with. Even shout out to Rambo Nakamura. He was like one of the first guys to really kind of implement MMA into my life on Maui in that fashion. As far as like really taking it seriously, he gave me the spark of the disciplinary mentality. Like, bro, you really like do this?
Right.
Get the hell out of Maui. Go someplace else. So that's when I went to school in Hilo, and Rambo told me Brett. He told me, if you go to Hilo, go find Rude Boy. And I didn't know who that was until like, you know, December of 2008. I was watching fights with my dad. This is when I kind of started to get into like actually fighting, you know. And I seen this guy knock the lights, beat the brakes off of this guy. And then when he's done, he knocked him out. He's like, he starts doing like his own rendition of like the hula. And I'm like, I'm looking at this guy. I'm looking at my dad. I'm looking at this guy. I'm like, bro, that guy Hawaiian? And he's got like flower prints on his legs. And I'm like, bro, that's not Hawaiian. I know that's not Hawaiian. And turns out he's from Hilo, one of BJ Penn's main training partners. And he was on season 6 Ultimate Fighter under Matt Serra. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was the guy that made it out of Hawaii after Kendall Grove. Yeah, Kendall Grove was the first guy to make it off of Maui, win the show, and then Troy came from Big Island. So I went to BJ Penn Fitness. I started training with Rude, and Rude was the only guy, ironically, his name is Rude, right? But he was the only guy to reach out to me and see something in me. Man. And really pay attention to the things that I was doing and how I was moving. Hey, this hook is this. You know, really coaching me. Yeah, that was one of the more real coaches that I had like in my beginnings. And no discrediting to all my other coaches, you know what I mean. But I'm talking about on a personal level. That meant a lot to me. Like, you know. I'm not just one guy paying your bills and your rent to keep your lights on. I'm not just like annoying kid that won't go away. I'm not some charity case that you're trying to keep off the street. Like, he really saw something special in me enough to invite him to his house, to train with him, to like really like kick my ass and like, hey, why are you doing stuff? Like, you know, he was real with me. He kept it real. That's why his name was Rude. Right. Makes sense. So I was training with him for a while. Then I graduated, and I didn't know what I was going to do. Like, I thought I was going to stay in Hilo because I loved it there. I loved training with the boys at BJ Penn Fitness. Shout out to Boss MMA. I loved that crew. But, you know, I didn't have a job. I didn't have a place to go, so it was time to go back to Maui. And I was like, Coach, you got any advice for me? He's like, if you really want to make it, just like Rambo told me, if you want to make it, get off of Maui. Troy told me the same thing. Yeah. Said if you wanna make it off of Maui, you get the fuck out of Hilo and you get your ass to Vegas, specific. Wow. Fight capital of the world. And so at that time, I started seeing different guys on social media. You know, some guys will call it dick riding, but like, I just see a Hawaiian and I want to be your friend. Yeah, you know, I'm just like, hey, I follow him or whatever. And I met this guy through one of the bigger Maui fighters, rest his soul, John Pico. He's from upcountry Maui and Molokai together, and he was the first guy in my generation, like, to make it. He came to Vegas. He moved to Vegas, and he started making it big. 5-0. He was like knocking everybody out, and everybody in the gym at Extreme Couture gravitated to him. He was the star child. He was a golden boy. He was a problem. Wow. You know, and you know, he had all kinds of, you know, personal challenges and obstacles that he had to get over. He passed away this past year. Man, and my condolences. Yeah, you know, like the John that I knew was strong. The John that I knew was inspiring, motivating. The John that I knew kept you honest. Yeah. And so I always looked up to him at a certain point in my life. And when I saw him making it in Vegas, that was a click that went, wow, Maui boys can. Because never have Maui boys anymore. Brandon was at home. Yep. Kendall was at home doing what he was doing. Never have Maui boys making it out there. Riley Dutro at the time was a close training partner of mine. He was doing stuff all over Japan and PXC and stuff. But other than that, like, there really weren't any guys making it to the top, like breaking that ceiling. Of course. So I really, really took a liking and took inspiration and motivation from John Pico. And he was making a lot of friends in Vegas. Guys like my friend Puni, or Aupuni Pololu, and Ty Guerder. Those two guys were real peely with him. And so I would see them on his social media all the time. I was like, oh, I want to be friends with him. So, I followed him or whatever. And I met them on Oahu through another fight. And I bumped into him. And I was like, hey, you're John's friend, yeah? And me being, you know, Bush baby, Aloha country boy, talking to this city guy. And he's looking at me like, who's this mother? You know, like, he wanted to fight me that night. Really? Yeah. Wow, because he was looking for an opponent to fight somebody. And he's like, I want that kid. I like, you know, Oahu people are different. Yeah, they're they're a lot more punchy than us. Oh, really? At least, like, we're just as punchy, but we're not from the gate punchy. You know what I mean? Yeah, you have to be that way to survive in the city in these rough places like they are, and that city gangster mentality, like eat, killed or be killed. You gotta be like that. And here's me, like here's everything I own. Be my friend, you know. And so anyway, so I was like, hey man, you're John's friend, and you know, I just wanna reach out to you and say like you guys are doing a good job. Like I like seeing small Hawaiian town boys make it, you know. So good job. And then he knocked that guy out that night. Ty killed that guy that night. Like Ty actually went through a pretty big war from this guy from Molokai. That was kind of nuts to watch. Yeah. Anyway, so I made friends with them there, and I told them, you know, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna move to Vegas. My coach told me I'm gonna go, and I didn't do shit for 3 years. It took me 3 years to make that move, and I don't know what in my mind possessed me to do that, but just I'm gonna say, bro, the Akua told me to go. He said I just had that voice in the back of my head that told me just do what you do, and that was I wouldn't have done that if it weren't for all those people that I trained with, all those people that helped me and gave me advice at those so many different times in my life. It wasn't just like the same guys all the way through, you know. And I owe it to them to do the best I can in everything that I'm doing here. My first 3 years here was an insult to everyone that believed in me because I was fucking off. I see. You know. So I finally got my shit together, and I realized that every time you're not doing your best, it's an insult to the people that believe in you.
Right.
You know? So
that's
and so much so that's why I'm really pleading with him, because when my coaches at Extreme Couture can't coach me because they got Francis Ngannou next weekend. Like I'm making what, $500 in one of my fights, and he's gonna get 10% of that. Why would he give that up for 40 racks? You know what I mean? Like he's got a family to feed. He's got stuff to do. It's business. It's not personal. So you got Francis fighting. You got this guy fighting in Bellator. You got Brad fighting in UFC. So like coaches can't necessarily fly with you like all the time. So my uso, my brother, my palala, my kua'ana, Marvelous Tivanga he flies out with me to every fight. So he comes to Vegas, and then whatever promotion I'm fighting for, they'll fly us out to wherever we're going. So 5-1 as a pro.
Hell yeah.
4 of those dubs were with Marv in my corner.
Oh, wow. Hell yeah. Wow. That's what's up, and man. 2 of them were with my jiu-jitsu coach from back home. You know, so I'm still learning to like build my I guess my umeke, you know, put all the stuff inside. But I'm still giving back to my my roots and where I come from. I think fostering those relationships are really important, because when this is over, and nobody fights anymore, and your Instagram presence disappears overnight, because that shit happens all the time.
All you're gonna have is the people that you've been taking care of just as much as they've been taking care of you. And whatever you do from now and then, you turn around and no one's around. Gee, I wonder why.
Right.
You know,
that's facts.
So
that is facts.
So it's important to me because they're there when I need them, and when they need me, I need to be there too. It's conditional. Aloha is conditional. That's the theme of this whole thing. You gotta do the work. You gotta. So we get one tanoa, right, full of ava. You're gonna be drinking the whole time. You're gonna be drinking the whole time, sucking them up like on vacuum. And you don't bring ava to the circle.
Yeah, bro.
To the fight kava. What you doing, bro?
They gonna kick your ass out.
Don't bring that guy over here. He's a freaking camel drinking up all our stuff.
Yo, for real.
You know, as every time you take from the bowl, you gotta put back in, and that's been something that I've been raised with my whole life, basically. You know, it's reciprocation. You know, and that's no different from. You can't differentiate the energies too. Somebody do harm to you, you better do harm back to them, and mohad so they don't mess at you again.
Facts.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to get out of that aloha spirit mentality. Like there's a time and place for aloha, and there's a time and place for halamake. You know.
Hey, shout out to Alpuni and Ty though. I've talked to him for like you, bro. I'm the same way. I fanboy out as much as I can on our people. And you could call it racist, you could call it whatever, but when we grew up, like me and my brother, we were in our 30s, you never saw our people thrive like the way that they are now. So it's hard not to. So, I mean, you can stick it up your ass. I don't care. You know, it's all Polynesian first. But that being said, do you have, I wouldn't want to say idol, but do you have someone that you model your game after as far as MMA?
Fighting?
Yes.
There's a lot, and you know I'll get shit on for a lot of it. I was a big fan of Cub Swanson for a long time because he was controlled chaos. My style isn't clean. If you take Puni in here and he tells me to move around, I drive him crazy. Really? I tried to train under his coach Jimmy Gifford, and Anthony Pettis came in for a session one time, And he told him, this is a flyweight. This is how he moves. And I'm telling you, Anthony, he's like you. He hurts me when I see him move around. But if it works for him, who the fuck am I to try and get in the middle of that? You know, there's different coaches for different styles. And my style, Puni calls it the Taro Patch Tornado. Because you don't know what's coming. It's all over the place. It's dirty as shit. But, hey, it works. I make poi every damn time.
Yes,
you know? So, but not every time. I lost one time. But, you know, stay humble, Pololu. Relax. But... You know, to emulate certain fighters, I like Cub Swanson a lot. I like Anthony Pettis. And there's certain different... I don't model after one fighter. I think there's two guys in particular that really, really got me, like, motivated. I love the work ethic of Michael Chandler.
Yes,
I love the way that he... I love the way that he carries himself. I love the way... You know, people are going to talk about his game plan or whatever, but what? You paid $80 to watch that guy fight anyway, so who's the real loser here? You know what I mean? I am, because I watched it too.
Right. So I got Fire Stick, so you know.
I gotta find those stream links. Yeah. But Michael Chandler, he for me, I like his work ethic. I like his mindset. He carries himself as a champion in and out of the cage. The way that he carries his family, you know, the way that he provides for his own circle.
The way he calls people out.
Yeah. Dude, entertainer. The way that he's such a artsmith, wordsmith, you know. And second, favorite fighter of all time, you know, this is gonna be for a lot of reasons. Yancy Medeiros.
Man,
that's my favorite fighter of all time, bro.
I was a little hurt when he moved to Bellator, but seeing him on the Hawaii card, hell yeah.
Yeah, he brings and what I like about him is, bro, that man is not human. If you watch his fight with Oliveira, that's one of my favorite fights of all time.
Oh my gosh, bro.
2,000 years ago, you see that? That man is on Kupua. That is on Shapeshifter. That guy is not human, bro.
He ate everything, but same thing with Oliveira.
Yeah. And that fight couldn't have been as good without Oliveira. But I like Yancy's style. I like his tenacity. I like his mindset. I don't really like. I try to emulate certain skill sets, but I know that I'm not a technician. Like, I'm just a dog, you know. Like, I'm just down. You can kick me in the head if you like. I'm gonna keep coming back. Puni got me with this one. We call it the eat and yeet. He throws a head kick and then I take him down. I gotta eat it first. But anyway,
That's hilarious.
But I like Yancy for his tenacity, for his mindset. I love that he keeps it real. If I could give him a nickname, he doesn't have one, but I would say that Mr. Aloha. I would love to freaking nickname that guy, man. And what I like is he doesn't pretend to be anybody else. He doesn't try to sell himself. He doesn't try to pass off like he's hard or talk shit or be Hollywood, which is necessary for some guys because if they don't do that, they're not going to be anything. That's all they're good for is talking shit and making Hollywood, you know? Yeah. And so with Yancy, he's just who he is all the time. He's trying to become more Kanaka every day. I see him emulating certain things, but he doesn't do too much. Right. You know, he does just enough to, you know, this is who I am. I've always been this, and I'm trying to become better. Right. That's what I appreciate about Yancy. Of course. So he's in my mind, he's the most full representative of a Kanaka in the ring, next to Ilima.
Yeah, for sure.
Ilima carries nationhood and Aupuni and Lahui on her back. Yes. There's nobody that reps Hawaii, in my mind, in the MMA world right now, bigger than her. Yes. You know, facts. As far as like the certain components to when she walks out and what she wears and stuff that she says.
What she does for all Native American women as well.
Yeah. For her own, that's what Hawaiian trait to ho'omana them, right? Yep. So she pays homage to everybody. Yes. And that's the aloha that, you know, that we really need to be getting into. She carries that, he carries them two together. It's just Hawaii's on top. And also, shout out to Brother Scott. You make some money. Get one Hawaiian on your card. I would be selling out half your seats, even more, times 20. I'm not good at math, but it would be more than what you're doing now if you gave me a damn fight and stop leaving me on red, bro. Come on. For real, man. Get me one fight.
And we've had Ray Seffel on this podcast in our first season. I would love to see you in PFL, but man, Bellator, UFC, man, we gotta get you in there.
You know, I would invite. I would treat bigger organizations of fighting like I treat women. You know, I'm just happy that somebody wants me. Of course. You know, like what you think I'm cute? Okay, that's cool. It doesn't really take much. I'm a simple man. I'm a damaged human being, both outside and the inside. That's why we keep fighting, you know? Anyways.
And I got to save that for my wife. I got to say that in the same line.
We're projecting right now. I'm sorry. We're getting a little too... I'm fighting Hawaiian and strong big trucks, right? Shark teeth are on my neck. I'm a man. Yeah, that's what this is about.
Well, this is more of his world. I don't want to take all your time. You got any questions?
Yes, I'd hate to go straight to jiu-jitsu, but
Yeah.
how much? Like, I'm not really that much around full MMA fighters at the moment. How many times do you train jiu-jitsu regularly, or if you do at all anymore?
I haven't put the gi on in over a year. It's a real detriment, only because like I think it's really necessary 100%, but like MMA is like on hyper ADHD, like you never know what you're gonna get. Box of chocolates, kind of supercharged like steroided discipline. Like in order to be successful in MMA, you gotta be world class in 3 disciplines, or you gotta be world class in 1 discipline and damn good in the other 2. Right. So I would credit groundwork, striking, and wrestling. I don't put wrestling in the same as groundwork because you're controlling positions.
Right.
You can wrestle standing.
Yes.
You know, so if you don't have wrestling, you really don't have anything. You have to at least understand the components of wrestling to know how to get the hell out of shit. Wrestlers are my biggest problems. If I'm fighting one karate guy, I can stand up with him. I can take him down. You know, if I'm doing one jiu-jitsu guy, I just punch him in the head when he reaches for my leg. You know, like, if there's all of these different simple components, rock paper scissors. But with wrestling, bro, wrestling is a freaking issue that I have not like figured out how to beat yet. Like my biggest problems is wrestlers. So getting back to the original question, I started off in jiu-jitsu. That doesn't mean I was good at it. I've been doing jiu-jitsu since 2007. You can suck for 5 years straight. That's a thing, and I'm one of them. You know, I was a 5-stripe blue belt. Like that was how long I had my belt. And you know, the only reason why I'm a brown belt, no discrediting my teacher. I personally,
you're good, brother.
I personally don't think that I deserved to have that belt. I got in one of my fights and I got this mountain triangle on this guy and I beat that ass and I figured it out. But I was a purple belt at the time. And, you know, he felt that I carried the school in such a fashion to where he could honor it. But for me, technically, I didn't think I had that. Like, that guy must have been a white belt. Like, of course, I better be mounting triangling white belts. Like, if not, take away your purple belt. You know what I mean? But I don't believe that I deserve to have it. But now that I got it, you know, that's going to be, like, the opportunity for me to earn it.
Right.
You know, I didn't deserve it, but I damn sure better earn them because I could shame him. Yeah. So I'm getting tied up by all these purple belts and freaking Cabrinas, and I do like these open mats and freaking
10th Planet.
No, I haven't been to 10th Planet yet, but I have been to what's the other one? Zenith.
Oh yeah.
Damn, I'm getting beat to piss out of by purple because they see the brown belt, right? They're like, first of all, it's one brown guy, so they're like, Second of all, it's the brown belt, and they're like, ooh, I can go show my teacher that I know something. Maybe he'll promote me if I rip this guy's head off. You know, he just puts like a target on my back. I'm like, oh, bro. And then I look at him, and he doesn't say anything, but he's just like, well, get your shit together. That's what I think, you know. And I hear my dad telling me that. So, do I train? For me, if you practice basketball, you need to play basketball. If you practice, you know, fighting, you need to do fighting.
Right.
And so MMA, to me, you can't just jump into MMA straight up by itself. Like today we're having MMA class. Like that's not a thing.
Right.
You gotta have the basics. You gotta have your wrestling. You gotta have your jiu-jitsu, some kind of striking, Muay Thai, boxing, whatever. And you gotta be damn good in those ones.
Right.
And then when you get to MMA, you gotta be able to, they call it not having habits but options. You know, certain areas, maybe I'm gonna sprawl off of a double leg takedown, or maybe I'll knee him in the head. And the key to MMA to me in that fashion is being able to make those decisions on the fly. You know, like he'll go for a double leg, I'll throw a knee, and he'll say psych and then come up with a head kick on the same side that he shot on. Like it's decision making. So for me, I'm at that point where if I don't start compartmentalizing those things and blending them together, like I'm not gonna be successful. Like you can do jiu-jitsu all you like every day and choke guys out. Maybe you'll get a guy that hasn't really practiced his guillotine defense.
Right.
Maybe he hasn't practiced putting pressure on the hips. You'll get lucky like that. But with MMA, from what I notice, any second that you don't spend on MMA specifically is the second that makes you suffer. You know, if you train jiu-jitsu like 5 times a week, you'll do great at Worlds, at IBJJF.
Right.
Like you'll be fine with that. But you take a jiu-jitsu guy that knows how to throw 3 punches and you put him in a fight, bro, he's toast. You know?
Yeah, like
Chrome
like
Gracie.
Bro, that fight was hard to watch.
I didn't want to say it. I know. I'm sorry. I disappointed both of you. I'm sorry.
Ice cream cone, man.
Yeah.
But look at Buchecha, same thing. I mean, world class, and then he's completely pretty much dropped jiu-jitsu, just straight MMA. Because it's like you said, it's too hard, man.
Everything that you learn in jiu-jitsu up to a certain point, that at his level, he's not gonna learn anything that makes him better if he just trains jiu-jitsu.
Right.
It's only gonna improve his jiu-jitsu. It's not gonna improve his MMA game. But obviously, it doesn't go like all across the board. There's exceptions to every rule. Damian Maia, fucking Ryan Hall. As good as he was at his time.
Yep.
Right? There's all of these specific skill set guys that are very like. There's not really too many jiu-jitsu fighters out there, like specifically and fundamentally jiu-jitsu and all that. Its glory. It had its time, but the time of the wrestler is and I hate it. I hate it.
Same thing in jiu-jitsu though. Like ADCC is ran by. If you don't have wrestling, pretty much don't sign up.
Wrestling is key, man. In Hawaii, we call it hakoko, and we had it, and we would have been great too if somebody didn't come to us and take away our coconuts and our spears and our wrestling classes. We would still have hakoko today, but no. So now I'm trying to, figure that out.
Of course.
That'll be my next project. It's always been a project. I get freaking ragdolled across the room. If you ever wonder, like, if I ever launch like an ice cream shop, one of them's gonna be named after the mat because I know exactly what that tastes like. It's so scarred in my brain. I know what that zebra mat in there tastes like.
That's a good. That's another T-shirt.
Staff.
Staff. Ringworm. Staff. Hopes and dreams.
Hopes and dreams.
Like squash hopes and dreams. I'll just punch him in the face, but I was wrong kind of dreams. Yeah. That's what that all tastes like.
Also, real quick before you move on.
No. Go ahead.
How does it feel like? Have you felt an exponential growth being training in such a heavy room full of your people?
That's a great question.
So I fought my first fight. My first pro fight was in Hawaii. After that, I left. So I was 1-0. I was out here, and I didn't really have like a specific coach. I was getting ready for my second fight, and it was against this guy named Tommy Matias. He was one of the guys. I remember this guy fighting when I was in middle school. He was like the king of he was the next big thing. He was like Max Holloway's like trading buddy at YNI boxing. He was like a Golden Glove champ. Had like 200 something boxing matches or whatever. And me, I just bounced around like from the island. Like I've never boxed in my life. I was a jiu-jitsu kid, And going into this fight, I didn't have like a coach. I got maybe 4 mitt sessions that the guy like blessed me with his time. Shout out to Nate Pettit. He gave me some time, and I was running on the treadmill every day, and I was getting the shit beat out of me every single day. Not learning a goddamn thing. How high my head could bounce off the mat and off of somebody's hand. That's where I learned.
Right.
And I went back home. And I had my Uz, I had Marv, and I had my coach Joel, and they cornered me for that fight, and I beat the brakes off of him. And I don't know what I learned. I learned if I was tough or how to move my head, and I was like, all of a sudden, his punches weren't as fast. Bro, they were scary, though. I'm not going to take any respect from that guy.
Sure.
Bro, he hit me one time, and usually, I'm a slow starter, so, whoever I fight next is going to watch this interview and probably, use it against me, but I don't get into the fight until I get cracked. And I'm like, ooh. Now the devil come out and I'm like, all right, we scrapping. But I can't do that all the time because one day it's gonna be that one crack that takes me out in 3 seconds flat, But anyway, going through all of that and not learning anything specifically, just being in the room, it's just so exponential. It's like steroids, bro. It's like, don't let USADA in my brain because it's all mental steroids for me. All the guys that the caliber and the pedigree of fighters, you could even use me as a dummy and hey, come here, let me show you something. And the guy's beating the piss out of me to show that guy. I'm down there.
You're
and
learning,
I'm
right?
Okay, so my hand goes here, right? And I switch over to the back, and he just takes this. So I'm just while I'm eating the shit beat out of me, I'm still learning from these guys, but not directly. Everything is just sponge. I'm just absorbing everything I possibly can. Everything to even dieting and nutrition. I suck at that. I eat so much. I missed weight my last fight. It's a goddamn shit show.
I feel you.
And I'm meeting nutritionists and I'm taking my health a lot more seriously now. Every aspect of the game. This social media shit. That's contrary to popular belief, that's a necessary thing in fighting.
It's a part of it.
You can be the best fighter in the world, but if you're in the bushes and nobody sees it happen, you don't have a good manager and good media presence, no one's gonna give a shit and you're not going anywhere. You're just gonna be the does a tree fall in the forest? Does it make a sound?
Right.
Yeah, it makes a sound, but nobody saw it, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, facts. Unless you could be.
Yeah. Somebody heard that fucking bear
Yeah,
drop
I
from
know.
all the way from Florida.
And the whole team out there is
Yeah.
crazy good. Too.
Yeah. So I definitely have a deep appreciation for extreme couture and how far that I've come as a person. I'm not the best at what I do. I'm like on the lower end of the average spectrum in my gym. I'm gonna be completely honest, not trying to like suck my own dick or anything or put myself on a pedestal. Like I am like the most average guy in that gym. But the amount that I've improved, it's not what I do best. I'm not the best at it. I'm not the best at it. I've said that a million times already. But it's what I do best because of the guys that are supporting me, because of the pedigree I'm surrounded by, because of the life lessons that I've learned being in the big city, coming from the taro patch. It's like I've grown so much exponentially as a human being through fighting. If I retire tomorrow, I would have learned more over anywhere here than going to college. That just teach me about life. And I wouldn't have done that if I went to Western Oregon maybe. Like I mean I don't know, but that I don't see me learning these lessons there.
Right.
And at a gym like you, there's so many different styles. And being scrappy kind of just closes the gap on all of them.
Yeah. It changes your brain, yeah. So different from security when you're dealing with one drunk auntie, one gangbanger, one brother that's just like you, one rich white guy. Do you know who my dad is, motherfucker?
Those are the worst.
It teaches you to like switch, like when you're doing with different styles. Oh, this guy, this is the answer to this question. Oh, this guy, this is the answer to this question. And not every answer is the same. And then it all kind of blends into your particular style. And if you learn enough answers, then you become the question. You become the problem. Now I go back home. Bro, I'm the best guy in the room, but like also like, let's be humble for a second. If you're the smartest guy in a room, you're in the wrong room, and bro, I'm in the right room at Extreme Couture. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That is
awesome, bro, for sure.
Yeah. And I know we've talked about you looking for organizations to pick you up, especially the big three. Would you ever make the move to like Singapore? I know you're good with being in anyone, but would you ever make that big leap?
If I can afford it and the things in my life line up, I would have to take myself out of my own shoes for a second and see, what are my priorities? Do I have kids? No. Do I have a wife? No. Do I have a brand new niece? From my sister just gave birth.
Oh, hey, congrats.
Thank you. Shout out to Oil. What's up, baby girl?
Yeah.
And so, I have all of these different priorities in my life, and I'd have to run that by. My family is always first. Yeah. So, if I get this big deal, I go run. They're all team Pololu. They're all team Poundah's Union. You know what I mean? Yes. Like, they're always supporting me no matter where I go. They all flew out to my fight in Oregon. We had like 30 Hawaiians in one building. Yeah. It was all these brown people at this racist ass gym. It was awesome. Nah, not racist. There was prejudice. But anyway. I would like to entertain the idea, and we'll never know until the opportunity comes. Right. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But if the Aqua thinks that it's time for me to go and that's where my life should go, then I'd have to think about it. I can't give you that answer right now.
For sure.
Yeah, but sounds cool.
I know everything's not for money, but they're dropping major cash at one.
I mean, my ancestors would be maybe like a 20% of my ancestors would be proud of that. Shout out to Akiona bloodline. I'm Chinese.
Oh, okay. Are you from the Akiona bloodline?
Yeah.
That's what's up. There's a lot out here.
Yeah, there's a lot everywhere. I don't know who what great grandpa was, but he was busy.
Well, before you ask your next one, I want to get a little messy here.
Okay.
We've been talking about the big three, and I know it now, and that's one thing that I do respect and love about you. You hold yourself accountable, where you humble yourself. My brother does the same thing. Right in the beginning of the podcast, he already did it, cut me off. But if you could, how do you see
the martial artist part?
Yeah, facts. How do you see yourself match up against some of the best in this organization? Do you see yourself pairing up pretty well matchup-wise against, let's see, Brandon Moreno?
Oh, I get smashed.
Aljamain oh, yeah?
I would get smashed.
Yeah.
I would get smashed by every name you're spitting at me right now. I'm going to be honest. Like, I've moved with Brandon Moreno. We was just touching. Really? He wasn't even sparring. He was lighting my ass up. Like,
man. I saw my target yesterday.
I got a lot of work to do, bro. Like,
man.
Like, if you bring anybody from the top 10, I'm gonna get my ass kicked for
Fair
sure.
enough.
Hey,
Fair enough.
bottom 15, let's go. Bro.
Let's
I'm
go.
fucking down. I'm a C+ fighter. I'm down to hang with the boys. Work my way up from the bottom.
Right.
There's always gonna be somebody better than me, and there's always gonna be somebody worse than me. You can do all the training in the world that you want, and it doesn't matter until it definitely helps. Don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, it's who's better that night.
So many ways to lose.
You can beat the brakes off of somebody, but that doesn't necessarily make you better.
True.
Definitely happens a lot, but
Right.
that's not every fight is like that. I'm not gonna name names. I'm never gonna admit it,
Right.
unless you get me drunk. But I've submitted a few UFC fighters, and I've dropped one UFC fighter. I'll put that in my brain for the rest of my life. If I break my legs tomorrow, that'll be a highlight in my head.
Hell yeah.
But that's because he wasn't. Maybe they weren't taking me seriously. Maybe they didn't eat breakfast that morning. That
Right.
doesn't make me better than them.
Fair enough.
I just got them.
It was your day.
What was that?
It was your day.
Yeah, it was just my day, man. Any given Sunday is what my dad always says. And
Yeah.
the higher you get, that's when it starts to really matter. And
Right.
I've come a long way, bro. And I got so much further to go.
Man.
Every day in practice, I'm reminded by how far behind I am. The higher you go, the more you realize you don't know shit about shit.
If that ain't the truth,
Yeah.
bro.
But once you start looking at it like that, the more you start grabbing things and things start making sense in your brain.
True.
Why wasn't I doing this before? All of a sudden, I've been doing this shit for years, and all of a sudden, this one little problem, it makes sense, and it was there the whole time for
Right.
200 years, as long as wrestling has existed, that move has existed, but it just never came to me.
Right. Fair
All
enough.
of a sudden, I start learning it now because I look at it that way instead of sticking. Keep training, keep working hard, keep grinding and whatever till your good is your better, and your better is your best, and your best just keeps getting better. It never stops, bro.
Right.
The moment you take a break, the moment you stop, you blink, the game is upside down. It's
Right.
totally from when UFC first started to now. You blink,
True.
bro. A lot of world class fighters back in their day are average now,
Yeah.
if not
Facts.
worse. And doesn't even have anything to do with the age or the damage. It's about the style of the game, all these
Yeah.
different components. If high-end fighters are listening to this is just obvious to them, but if you really look at the history of how the sports evolved, look at basketball, for example. It's relatively, I'm speaking out of pocket here because I'm not a basketball player, but I don't know how you guys would compare it to football or ball,
Right.
if it's elevated at
Big time.
those sports are since the 60s and 50s, right? MMA is only 20, 30 years old, and look
Yeah.
how fast it elevated. I'm not even
Yeah.
talking about the media and how much of following it's gotten. Look at the athletes. Look how much it's
Right.
changed. Yeah, NBA today and NBA from day one is super different, but it took that much longer than
Of
MMA
course.
was that.
Mhm.
Within these past 6 years, even.
Yeah, exploded, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, since the
facts.
Reebok deal.
Yeah.
even. It's the
Which
guys-
everyone thought was terrible, but
Yeah.
it wasn't as
Yeah.
bad.
I mean, I'll hope to find out one day. I'm not gonna bad mouth Reebok yet. I'm
Yeah.
just, pick me.
Right. Facts. Wait, didn't they sign with
The Under
Venom.
Armour. Oh yeah,
No,
Venom.
Venom.
You're
Venom.
right.
That's
right,
right. That's right.
They just wear the Rock shoes.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
These shoes are shit. Please don't beat me up on the street. I'll tap. That was funny as fuck. Man.
I can't believe he did that, man. That was crazy.
That's amazing.
Nate doing Nate.
Yeah, I want to talk about that too, but we're not gonna have enough time.
It's all good.
Do you have any other questions before we start diving into
Drop top.
Drop top?
Last one. Say your career ended, what is the one thing you want to leave, or what is the one mark you want to leave that represents you?
I had one Hawaiian in there.
Yeah.
They don't even have to remember my name, but as long as they knew when Kanaka Maoli was up there and they knew what flag I was flying, bro, I could die tomorrow and I'll be everything I need.
Man,
Bro, you gave me goosebumps.
for real, bro, for real. Genuinely, you make me proud to be Hawaiian.
Absolutely.
To be
It
Kanaka,
It doesn't have to
man.
be me either. If I don't make it to the UFC and I help my boys, and I help them make it and they learn from me and they become that thing, that's why I'm fighting. Because
Right.
fighting is the best thing that I do. And if what I can do pushes us that much further, and it doesn't have to be me, it can be maybe it's one of my kids that I coach back home in 10 years from now. Maybe he becomes champion and he knows how to speak Hawaiian and he knows where he comes from. Maybe my boys at the gym start asking me questions. Maybe I'll throw a malo on them. Maybe I'll tell them how to say certain things in Hawaiian when they get the mic from Joe Rogan. If it's not me and I can help make it be somebody else, that's why I'm here. I'm not here to be champion. I'm not here to participate. I'm just here to push me and my people forward as much as possible, doing what I do best, which just happens to be fighting. and cutting grass. I'm really good with weed. Your ass. Okay, you know you're talking about like pride and stuff?
Yeah.
Like the Brandon Moreno. I challenge any UFC fighter to a Shin Dawa MMA freaking blast off at the towel patch. I would leave all you fuckers in the ground and make my towel grow. Every grass, every guano would be strict like my head. It would be shiny, clean, and better than anything you'll ever do for the rest of your life. You can bet the house on that. That I'm confident about. I'll cut the shit out of some grass, bro.
Let's go.
Bro, we're definitely gonna make that a post for
Yeah,
sure.
that's a clip for sure. That's a clip.
I don't care. UFC undisputed grass cutter. Pololu the weed whacker Nakanelua. Sign me up. Pay me my money. We're doing slap fighting. Like, why aren't we doing grass cutting? I'll smash anybody in there. Dana, hire me and give me Connor's bonus. Oh, sorry. I'm all frustrated. I'm really passionate about my grass.
Well, you might have came to the wrong city because this is the desert. It's all rocks. That's hilarious.
I'll clip turf. I don't know.
I come wreck your rocks. Don't worry, I get you.
Yeah.
It's gonna pull your weeds. I got you. Well, before we start diving in into drop top, well, you already asked your last question. You got anything else you want to touch on? Let's get it, man. Genuinely, bro. I keep saying it throughout this episode, but I really do appreciate you for coming on, man. Like, just seeing you from afar through social media and then seeing you here live in person, face to face, you're everything that I imagined you would be. And
Humility.
man, that part, but also pride to be Hawaiian, man. Like, if there's anybody, I'm telling you, you're doing yourself a disservice if you do not follow this man. If you want to know what the culture is about, if you want to know what aloha is about, if you want to know what a true warrior is, man, my man is that. You see it all through his social media, every post, and through your words as well, man. You keep it up, man. Keep thriving and put on for the rest of us, man. We definitely gonna be backing you up. And the Tough Block is officially part of the Pounders Union.
Yeah,
man.
Yes,
absolutely,
sir.
absolutely,
Yes, sir.
absolutely. And I feel this genuine, just as you said, in every aspect, like holding the traditions, everything. You just want to pass it along, and that's awesome to me, man. That's so great.
Legacy, Brown Home. It only dies if we let it, right?
Yeah, facts.
Hawaiian forever.
Love
Yes,
it.
sir.
Love it.
All right, let's get into drop top. So this week's drop top topic is gonna be best villains. We call it drop top because you're gonna drop your top 3, but we also have the opposite of rock bottom. Do you want to do rock bottom on
let's
this
do
one?
rock bottom.
Yeah, for the 3 worst villains of all time.
Yeah, man, that's funny. Don't you think?
That's a tough
You
one.
guys go ahead. I'm gonna think a little bit.
So we always go from rock bottom first,
Uh-huh.
and then we're gonna work our way up to 3. So bottom is gonna be. Oh, we're gonna work our way up to 1. So 3 is gonna be first. You chose villain, so I'm gonna let you go first
For my number 3.
for rock bottom.
Okay.
Worst villain of all time, not best villain, worst villain.
King K. Rool from Donkey Kong.
Oh my god, bro! I did not even think about this dude. What the hell?
What the fuck are we doing? That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, that's fucking hilarious. My number 3, which I was kind of fighting back and forth on this one. You guys seen it? I'm sure you guys seen North Shore.
Oh,
I haven't actually.
You never seen the movie
man.
North Shore? Oh my god! If you
bro.
ever want to see the worst Hawaiian movie of all time, a white man that comes from Arizona that comes and saves surfing in Hawaii,
Wait a
which
minute.
doesn't make any sense. You seen this one?
Yeah.
The Hawaiian guy on there. What's his name?
From the
From
the
that movie. Yeah, from the Hui. I forget his.
Kala.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes,
The
captain.
captain.
The captain.
Is he? Is he the
Alexander.
captain?
Yes.
Alexander's last name,
Oh
yeah.
my god, bro! Worst villain of all time, but also just makes Hawaiians look stupid and weak, bro. Like, I was a child when I saw that. That pissed me off.
Hey,
That
bro,
made
we all
my
like taro.
blood.
All the taro is important.
Yeah.
That one go in the bushes. Specifically the character. Okay?
Yo, for real.
Are you watching this?
But I don't know.
You did a great job portraying the character. Great actor.
Yeah.
But the Hawaiian, he did a good job of portraying the Hawaiian that belongs in the bushes.
Yeah, for real.
Let's get that straight. Don't get that twisted before we get freaking, Because that guy can scrap too, you know.
Oh yeah.
And he's bigger than me.
Oh yeah. Then maybe I should shut my mouth. But still, acting wise, like you said, nah, get that motherfucker out of here.
Hey, what if his script said to act it that way?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
You sold out. No, just like,
But also, everyone has a price. I'm like one flat tire away from being homeless. Like, how much did they pay this man?
right.
I feel you.
Facts. Well, I know not a lot of Hawaiians obviously saw this movie, so couldn't have been that much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Damn.
All right, but what about you? You got a number 3 worst villain of all time.
I'd have to say, this is gonna be an awkward silence. You have to play that. I have to think. Shit. Let's give me a universe. Like Marvel, DC.
Oh, let's say Marvel.
Marvel, worst villain. I don't say Doctor Doom. He's cool and glowy and shit, but that guy got like really stupid issues because a girl didn't like him back. Like, oh, you know how many girls didn't like me? Like, if I could like bullshit with my brain, I'd make a house or like me taller and stand on stuff and look down at people. How's it feel, midget boy? Like, that's what I would do. You know, not be. You know, maybe girls didn't like me, and I'm a nice motherfucking guy. All right, and he's just pissed off because he like got treated weird. I was fucking stuffed in a trash can when I was 5. All right, like grow up. And he's smart as shit. He's smart as he's got money. And he's white. Why are you so mad?
And he has his own country.
Life is so easy for you.
That's 3 wins.
Yeah. He's ugly, and that's like his worst like quality. Oh, I'm mad because I have weird shit on my face. I have to put a mask on.
Yeah.
I look like a coffee bean that fell under the oven in 1995, and your mom told you to clean the kitchen, and no one touched it. That's me. And I'm doing what I'm doing. What the fuck are you crying about? Sorry, I'm projecting again.
Hey, don't do that to the Rocket Kevin Hart's son, man. Don't do that.
I didn't get any of my mom's genes. Anyway,
That's hilarious.
I got really personal.
That was hilarious.
What's your number 2, bro?
Oh man.
You went with Donkey Kong. How dare you?
Come on, bro.
That's
King K.
racist.
Rool's. What's the dude's name that portrayed Zemo, Baron Zemo, in all the Captain Americas and all the MCU's version, the movies version of Baron Zemo was terrible. The comic books was so good.
Oh, you're saying Baron Zemo in general?
The movie.
Oh,
Baron Zemo.
I got you.
Didn't even put the mask on. Like, bro, come on. That's like Captain America's like second main bad guy, bro.
Yeah,
like,
true.
it's such a
Yeah,
crazy
True.
backstory, and you
True.
just like, I don't want to fuck me around these computers, bro. You know?
Yeah,
Oh, we might get him in
dirty.
Thunderbolts. He might get a little better. Hopefully.
Did him dirty on that one.
Yeah. Let me see. Mine, bro. I know you probably gonna hate me for this, but the Emperor from fucking Star Wars, worst villain of all time. Worst villain of all time.
Do it.
That part.
That's my favorite part.
Bro, so much cinema has been built off of their dynamic.
I know, bro, but you want to talk about a fucking rusty nutsack? That motherfucker.
Oh man, that's giving me like some church boy flashbacks. I can feel your anger. You know, like, shout out to Father Pat.
Yo,
He looks like when you walk in the sauna room at EOS.
Oh,
There's a bunch of emperors in there.
I don't know, man. He's wearing more clothes than the guys that I'm used to hanging around with.
Yo,
over
for
there.
real.
I feel like if you're like the age of 40, it's just like, oh, I'm 40 now, and my balls are
It's
out.
like, how?
Why?
I know, bro.
I know you don't have anything to prove anybody, but like they're like lifting it up over their shoulders, and like it's like they're running away and going somewhere far. Like, I got everything I need in my sack on my shoulder. Like, why?
Their mentality is, if I gotta suffer through it, so did you.
I'm 30. I'm 39 and a half, or I'm 39 and 3, 2. Oh, I'm 40 now. Dick out straight. Like, I saw this one guy like with his leg like propped up like this, and like with like the razor, and I'm like, bro,
In the gym.
Don't go to EOS on Blue Diamond. That's where that motherfucker is. It's right here. That's where I saw that shit happen, bro. It was like somebody was taking bark off a tree made out of leather. Like, it was so bad. It was like I went back in time and the aunties were making cuppa and beating the freaking mass. It was
Talk
Coming
about
back.
wingbat.
Yeah.
Yo, for real.
Oh shit.
What about you, brother? What's your number 2?
Do you guys watch anime at all?
Anime?
He
Yeah.
does.
Only some.
One Piece.
I haven't got into. I just started One Piece.
One Piece is this guy. One Piece is this like this pirate Luffy.
Luffy
trying
the
to
monkey.
be the trying to be the king of the pirates, whatever. And there's this one guy that's a part of this one crew. His name is Buggy. And he's like this clown guy. He's got like a blue head or whatever. And he just gets his ass kicked every single time by literally everyone. And in like the bad guy group, he's bullied like the worst. Like it feels bad. Like no one takes him seriously. But he always does some shady shit. And he's just a waste of a person.
Of course.
I feel like the writer just made him to be somebody that you just don't respect ever. Like the counterpart would be Sakura and Naruto. Like nobody likes her. She's fucking garbage. You know?
My daughter actually likes her.
She's the one.
She's 8.
Your daughter likes garbage. We need to teach her better. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I can agree with that for sure.
We need to evolutionize that palette a little bit. Let me introduce you to Itachi Uchiha.
Oh, for
Yeah,
real.
anyway.
For sure.
I kind of jumped the gun on that one. That's like my number 1 villain. Is that? Oh, actually, not true. I'm sorry. I'm totally taking
Nah, no
over.
worries, no
Yeah.
worries.
My
no
favorite
worries.
villain of all time is Hidan.
He done from,
From Naruto.
Oh, I
The
haven't
guy
got
that's
that
into
far yet.
Joshinism. He's a crazy motherfucker. He's
Oh,
laughing
yeah.
and he's a murderous piece of shit and he loves it. And he's
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
He doesn't have like this fucked up beginning where somebody bullied me in high school and now I'm sad, or this like my parents like didn't support me, or my girlfriend got murdered. Like it's not this sad dumb bullshit. He's just crazy through and through to
Yeah.
the bone, and it's okay to be a crazy asshole. And
Right.
He likes it. I like that guy.
Hell
He's my favorite.
Yeah. Hell
Yeah.
yeah. Well, then we're gonna have to get your 2 and 3 for your drop top. But
My
what's
bad.
your no worries. What's your number 1?
Worst.
Yeah.
I mean, waking up on Saturday watching WB Kids and they put a pedophile on Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh man, that's facts.
Oh,
Pegasus.
Pegasus,
The
bro.
worst.
Yeah, bro.
Hey, I can't hate on him. That guy's got nice hair. Yeah, he would have lured me into his van too. I understand. You mean
Yu-Gi boy.
I can have that when I grow up? Okay. You can have anything you want. Just look at this.
Let me see. I'm trying to think.
Put him in a red suit too, like he's a pimp.
I know, bro. Let me see. I gotta get his name right because we've been doing a lot of that one guy from what's this guy's name? Let me see.
Had one job.
I think that's his name. Okay, so my number 1 worst villain of all time would have to be Xerxes from 300. Oh my God, 7-foot pretty boy that fucking can't fight for shit.
Yeah.
Hell no, bro. And he's just painted in gold. He literally does nothing, bro.
Yeah.
His voice is cool though, huh?
Definitely.
He's kind of a pedo too, bro.
Yeah, for real,
yeah,
bro.
yeah.
He's into like all these like mutants having
Yeah.
sex and shit
Yeah.
around there, bro. It's weird, bro.
I mean, also like perversion is like on a spectrum, right? Like if you're into that shit, we don't kink
Hey,
shame.
yeah,
you,
yeah,
right?
yeah, there you go.
Like, unless you're into kids, fuck you if
Yeah,
you're into kids.
facts,
Yeah,
bro.
Fuck
that.
you.
Facts.
Ain't no kink for that.
Yeah.
No. What about you, brother?
Number 2 worst.
Number 1.
Oh, number
worst.
1
Yes,
worst.
sir.
Oh, number 1 worst. Who is my number 1? I have to think about that a little bit more. Damn, that was a good one. Such a broad spectrum of people.
For real.
Oh, shit. Fuck yeah. I have it. It's at the tip of my tongue. Hold on. That motherfucker in Harry Potter, Peter motherfucking Pettigrew, that rat bitch. Fuck that guy.
yes.
Yeah, for real.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Snitch
Hey, we
you.
got a Harry Potter fan.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about you? Let's go. Let's jump to drop top. What's your number 3 best villain of all time?
Best villain of all time. Number 3 is Scar.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Ooh, that's a
Scar's
really
a
good
gangster.
one. Damn.
Be prepared, motherfucker.
That's your son's favorite song too.
Idiots. I mean, shit.
No, we really are idiots. My number 3 best villain of all time. I'm. It's still entertainment, so I'm still keeping it in there. Number 3, Vince McMahon
Okay.
Really?
from WWE. Bro, what? Some of
thought
his
he was
storylines
good.
were some of the best, and he had the best theme song.
Yeah.
No chance. And Conor McGregor copied his walk. Come on.
Did you see when he
man.
brought God out?
I
Just
know.
with the light on.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But Vince McMahon for sure. What about you, brother?
Yeah, Hidan's got to be my number one guy.
Yeah, for
Hidan
sure.
From Naruto. He's a crazy motherfucker through and through.
Hell yeah.
He's got that crazy laugh that he does, and his tongue's always out. And then when he gets really evil, he turns black, and it's scary. It's awesome. Yeah, it's like when black is bad and you like that shit. That's like a different turn of events that people aren't used to. I'm like,
For
whoa.
real.
Yeah, being black is awesome.
Darth Vader started it.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a number 3?
Number 3.
Best villain of all time. So number 1 is him. Is Hiro?
Yeah.
Number 3.
Who did I say so far? I said all my worst ones, yeah?
Yeah.
That's what I did?
Yeah.
All my good ones. I gotta go with...
Your favorite villains.
Okay. Number 2 would have to be, like, he was a villain at certain points, but then he changed. Like, my boy Vegeta.
Ooh, that's a
is
good
my
one.
guy.
Yes,
Because
sir.
he's not talented. He sucks at everything, but he still kills himself. And if you think about it and you look at the episodes, he did not lose to Goku once.
Yep, that's right.
That never happened. He's
That's
always
facts.
second best, but he never lost to Goku. So, yeah. That's my guy. That's my Bulma. I want a Bulma so bad.
Oh man.
Oh man.
We gotta find you a technological girl.
Bulma could get it.
Yo, for real.
Yeah, she could have 2 taro patches. Only 2 though.
Only 2, not the turbo.
Yeah, the third one's for Chi Chi.
There you go. Nah, she gonna kick your ass all day, bro. What's your number 2, bro?
Number 2. Oh man.
Damn, Vegeta's a good one,
Vegeta's
bro.
a great one.
Yeah.
Best villains. Damn, bro, this is tough. I'd go Thanos.
Man, I was gonna say him too.
He was
That's a
right.
good one. Yeah, he was right.
He was
He was
right.
right.
He was right. And there's nobody in cinema history that had that big of effect that shocked everybody in the world,
Yeah.
bro.
I was so mad.
I know, me too, bro.
I don't read comments like that, like in certain, like to a certain extent. So when I saw that, I was definitely surprised. You know, I was pissed.
He's like, I gotta
Hell yeah.
wait for a whole year
I
to
know,
find out.
to find out the fucking solution to this
Yeah,
shit.
and I'm like a classic person where you go, hey, I gotta tell you something. What? Never mind.
Yeah.
Hey, no, you tell me now.
Yeah, I'm the same person. I was
I'm
the
gonna be
same
thinking
way.
about that like for a whole year. Oh, that pissed me the fuck off. I was so mad.
And see, this guy, he's usually always watching something before I do. He's like,
Yeah.
man, I want to tell you this one part, but I'm like, fuck it, bro. Just tell me,
Yeah,
man. Just
yeah,
tell me.
yeah.
I want to know. I'm going to keep mine in the same universe as yours, my number 2. And this is only because nostalgia. We used to watch this after school every damn day. And nobody had a bigger impact that made me more fearsome for a universe than Cell.
Ooh.
The Cell saga was
was
amazing.
dope.
He also had
bro.
a pedo voice.
Yeah, he did.
Yes,
Yes, he did.
yes.
But
And
he
not
was
his final
good.
form. His earlier
Yeah,
forms.
yeah. Come here, little boy.
Yeah,
Why am I so good at those voices? I'm not a pedo.
I'm like, man, you're on
promise.
point with this, bro.
I just want to be an actor like my 2 dads. Like, I'm good at voice acting. I can't. They're gonna be like, you're too short for this movie. But I'm like, well, my dad is Kevin, so you have no excuse.
Yo, for real. Who's your number 2, brother?
My number, my first one was Hidan. My second one was Vegeta. My third one, I'm gonna have to go with Shredder.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a
I
good
just-
one, bro.
I actually just really just like his style and how he does things.
Hell yeah.
He's a gangster. He don't
Hell
give
yeah.
2 shits. Even
Yeah.
if that rat, like, you know, Spinner was his homie. You know?
Right.
Just straight gangster, super evil. I have an appreciation for actual evil people in movies, not in real life. All right, like in movies, like it's fun to like entertain that in your head. Like
Of
that guy
course.
did not give 2 shits.
Of course.
I love that guy.
Hell yeah. And,
Oh
and
man, I'm an idiot. I
Well-
want to change my number 1 now.
What is
oh,
it?
well, we could
Yeah,
say
yeah,
that's
yeah.
your honorable mention.
Yeah.
We'll say
Okay.
that for your honorable mention. What's
Gotcha.
your number 1?
My number 1? Oh shoot.
I gotta find this guy's name.
Oh man, I should have thought while you guys were talking. My. You want to go first?
No. Go ahead.
My number 1 best villain of all time. Damn it.
Come on, dog. Oh,
Damn
that's
it.
his name.
Damn it. Go. You go
You want me
first.
to go?
Yeah, you
Alright.
go first.
So you do watch anime, yeah?
Yep.
You ever watch My Hero Academia?
Oh hell yeah, Boku no Hero.
Stain.
Yeah. Oh,
Stain's my number 1
That's a good
favorite
one.
villain of all time.
Yeah.
So this dude, he believes in hero. Well, he doesn't believe in the heroes that's in the universe because they're all like backed up by sponsors, and some of them don't even do fucking real hero
Loaded
work.
media,
Yeah, but
you
this
know.
guy, he goes and tries to kill as many fake heroes as he can because he only believes there's only one true hero. And if you're not that one person, then you're not a real hero.
Yeah.
So he goes on a rampage, just like how he said about
Yeah.
Hidan.
He done. Yeah.
He done. He's the same way. He don't
Yeah.
give a fuck about nobody.
I would say,
bro.
I would say Stain has a more honorable like philosophy.
For sure.
He done just wants to kill you because that's his religion. Like
Fair
he gets
enough.
off on that shit. Like
Fair
you have to
enough.
watch it to understand it. But
Right.
yeah. Stain is a gangster.
Gangster,
and,
bro.
and he stands for something that I appreciate. I mean,
Yes.
a lot of villains in whatever retrospect, it's all about perspective, right? But then
For sure.
there's just still some villains that are like top dog villains. Like how in the same nature of what you're saying, I'm
Right.
changing my favorite villain to all time ever is Magneto. That's my guy.
Yes, sir. Yes,
He
man.
was right.
That's a beautiful one.
Because mutants are a metaphor for racism,
Yes.
and we belong here.
Yes.
Get the fuck out of my way.
That's
You
the
know?
Malcolm X.
Yeah. Get out of my goddamn coconut trees.
Hell yeah. Damn, that's a great
that was
one.
amazing.
I love Magneto.
You got your number one?
No, I got caught up thinking.
Oh my god,
Sorry.
again? Come on, dog.
Sorry. All right, I'm just gonna throw one out there. That's probably not my number one. Dang it.
We can give you some time, I guess. You know, I'm not going anywhere.
Yo, for real. You need to look it up. You got your phone?
No, I'm not gonna look it up.
You need a universe?
No. Yeah, give me a universe.
Let's see. You've done
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Ooh, that's a good one.
And we love your Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Except for the new ones.
I mean, for sure, Sauron. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
like even in the the Elden. I mean, not Elden Rings. What is the
Hobbit?
Amazon show that
Oh.
just came out?
Oh, yeah.
Power. The Rings of Power.
Rings
yeah,
of
the
Power.
Rings of Power.
Bro, he was amazing in that.
Oh, you watched it?
Oh, yeah.
Nah, I
Yeah.
didn't.
Oh,
I have money for that.
Yeah, Sauron for sure.
Hell yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You. Oh yeah, Magneto is your honorable
Yeah.
mention. Nah,
Yeah.
for sure. Man, that's a great villain too. Sauron's a great villain too, except for when you cut off his fingers. Then it's like
Aw.
nothing. You're gonna regret this later. I know for sure.
Yeah.
We're nothing without the fingers.
But brother, man, thank you so much for coming on, man. Again, we truly appreciate you for stopping on the block. I already said it, and it's an open door policy. We'd love to have you back for sure.
Have to.
There's so much that we didn't get into. I wanted to get into more of your music scene, even your views on racism for sure, man.
Oh, yeah.
I seen you go on your rants, but you have great points on everything. No, you good, man. You good, because I share the same views.
I don't
So
know. I'm
definitely
surprised
understand.
either. Like, I'll put it on social media, and somebody will tell me, "I saw your rant." I'm like, "Oh no!" What do you mean?" I'm like, "You posted it, idiot!" Like, yeah, that's
Even in
fine.
the video, you're like, I'm just gonna go on a rant for a bit.
Yeah.
But no, man, I appreciate you, good brother. We wish you nothing but success. Like I said, the block is now part of the Poundah Union.
Yep.
If there's anything that we could do to help or just support, man, you let us know. But is there anything you want to plug or let the people know where they can find you, social media wise, or your next event, and so on and so
Poi
forth?
Poundah on Instagram. You know, I got a track coming out soon, being produced by Star of the Steppers. Shout out to Sudden Rush. You know, they kind of put me on this path on music, and my next song called Hita is coming out. So be on the lookout for that, as well as the remix on Sudden Rush's Proud remix that's coming out within the next couple of months. So be on the lookout for that. You know, I just want to mahalo piha you guys, fa'afitai, my brothers. You know, ya'olua for, you know, just talking story, bro. I wish we had on Ava Bowl right here.
know.
Yeah.
We're gonna have
Maybe
to do that next time. Yeah.
This is good conversation.
Hell
to-
yeah,
to
absolutely.
Talk, you know, like it matches the energy. You know, if you like to talk about dumb shit, we're gonna be drinking beers, and
Yes,
you know, but you know, this kind of stuff is real powerful stuff. And you know, if you guys can do anything for me, is to keep being Hawaiian for yourselves, even if it's learning the alphabet, learning what your name means, learning anything that's more than today. That's the most that I can ask from anybody. That's all I care about, bro. Just keep being you.
Yes, sir,
Yeah.
man. That's
Fuck
love.
everybody else.
That's
Yes,
love,
sir.
man.
Yes, sir. Bro, you want to say anything?
Oh man, just that I'm so honored to have you on. Super inspired by your story, upbringing, your beliefs, tradition you uphold, and I can't thank you enough for coming on, brother.
All right, mahalo, you guys.
All right, y'all. Well, make sure you tap in. You already know. Like, share, subscribe. Tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell your bald-headed granny. I don't care. Tell everybody, man. Let them know Poi Poundah Union is in the building. We here. Check us out. We appreciate you. We'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.
We out.
Brother. Thanks, cool, man. Yeah.
For real.